Warrior Lore. Chapter 300. Inside the demonic cauldron, 10,000 ghosts were rushing towards him. The eerie chi made Lin Feng feel cold all over. Am I really going to be devoured by these ghosts? Lin Feng's eyes were gloomy. He naturally didn't want to die like this. Right. Heavenly fire. Suddenly, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He thought of the heavenly fire he had refined. Heavenly fire. It was the most young fire in the world. It was the most powerful fire in all the worlds. It could restrain all evil ghosts. How could mere ghosts compare to it? Heavenly fire, come out, shouted Lin Feng in a low voice. He immediately took out the purple earthcore fire. The purple earthcore fire immediately enveloped Lin Feng. When the ghosts tried to bite Lin Feng, they touched the heavenly fire. Sizzle, 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 sizzle. The ghosts' bodies immediately started burning. Screech. Many evil spirits let out shrill screams. Not long after, these evil spirits burned by the heavenly fire were burned into nothingness. Haha. The green-robed old man heard the screams of the ghosts from the demonic cauldron and laughed excitedly. Shouted the green-robed old man. What a powerful little brat. He seems to have injured those evil spirits, but it doesn't matter. Those evil spirits are formed from endless resentment. The more you injure them, the greater their resentment will be. Once the soul-devouring banner is refined, it'll be even more powerful. Inside the demonic cauldron, countless ghosts were frantically trying to avoid Lin Feng. They still had consciousness. When they saw how terrifying Lin Feng's flames were, they didn't dare attack Lin Feng. They were all afraid that they wouldn't be able to escape. Heavenly fire is really powerful. These ghosts are formed from endless resentment. They're very strong and almost indestructible. But when my heavenly fire touches them, they immediately turn to ashes. Lin Feng was excited. After he wrapped his body with the heavenly fire, Lin Feng realized that the temperature inside the demonic cauldron couldn't hurt him anymore. The demonic cauldron's temperature was caused by the earthcore fire. The earthcore fire was one of the three fires: sky, earth, and demon. The earthcore fire was nothing in front of the heavenly fire. With the heavenly fire protecting Lin Feng's body, he naturally wouldn't be affected by the demonic cauldron's temperature. That old devil must think that I'm being devoured by the ghosts. No, I have to scream and deceive him. Lin Feng was lost in thought. Ouch, it hurts. My finger. Don't bite my finger off. Old devil, I curse you to die a horrible death. When the old man heard Lin Feng's horrible shrieks and curses, he didn't get angry. On the contrary, he was even more excited. You. While pretending to scream, Lin Feng looked at the ghosts in the demonic cauldron. The old devil spent a lot of effort to raise these evil spirits. Each of them is a primordial spirit. If I devour these evil spirits, how strong will my soul become? Thought Lin Feng. Thinking about that, Lin Feng looked excited. Boom. He immediately released his devouring spirit and started devouring the ghosts. Dozens of ghosts were surrounded by Lin Feng's devouring spirit. Lin Feng's devouring spirit was going to refine them. Screech. The wraiths let out shrill and terrified cries as they struggled violently. But they couldn't break free from the devouring spirit. You're hurting each other. That's great. The more you hurt each other, the more resentful the ghosts will be. Then, the demonic cauldron will be even more powerful. The demonic cauldron's devouring spirit was getting more and more excited. Boom. Dozens of ghosts exploded and turned into pure soul power, which was devoured by Lin Feng. After absorbing the pure soul strength of the evil spirits, Lin Feng realized that his own soul strength had started to increase. Now, Lin Feng's soul power had reached the level of a yin-yang realm cultivator. Lin Feng estimated that it was about the same level as a yin-yang realm cultivator's soul power. Yin-yang realm's 10th level. Every level of heaven, every level of soul power was different. As his cultivation increased, his soul power would naturally become stronger. After devouring dozens of ghosts, Lin Feng felt that his soul power was slowly increasing. Ha ha ha, this feels so good. Lin Feng laughed. He had only devoured dozens of ghosts, but his soul power had increased. There were more than 9,000 ghosts in the demonic cauldron. If he devoured all of them, how strong would his soul power be? Thinking of this, Lin Feng became excited. Hearing Lin Feng's laughter, the demonic cauldron's devouring spirit laughed as well. That's great. This kid is going crazy from being tortured by the ghosts. Continue torturing him and biting him until he goes completely crazy. Meanwhile, Lin Feng was devouring the ghosts in the demonic cauldron. Countless ghosts tried to hide, but the demonic cauldron's space was limited. They couldn't escape at all. Lin Feng's soul power increased rapidly. He went from the first level of the yin-yang realm to the second level of the yin-yang realm, and then to the third level of the yin-yang realm. The ghosts rushed towards the demonic cauldron, trying to hide in the demonic cauldron and escape this disaster. Refined. Lin Feng used his devouring martial spirit to envelop the demonic cauldron. It was useless for the ghosts to hide in the demonic cauldron. They couldn't escape at all. Under the devouring martial spirit's devouring, the ghosts were all refined. Spare us. Some of the stronger ghosts had complete spiritual senses and begged Lin Feng for mercy. If I let you ghosts out, won't you bring disaster to the world? How can I spare you? Lin Feng sneered and slapped the ghosts. The ghosts exploded and were all devoured by Lin Feng. Lin Feng's soul power increased again. In the end, all the ghosts were devoured by Lin Feng. Lin Feng's soul power went from the first level of the yin-yang realm to the fifth level of the yin-yang realm. Waves of powerful soul power emanated from the demonic cauldron. Haha, is it going to succeed? There's no sound. Such powerful soul power. The demonic cauldron is finally going to be completed. 800 years. I used 800 years to refine 10,000 ghosts. Finally, the demonic cauldron is going to be completed. The green-robed elder slapped the demonic cauldron, and the cauldron lid shot into the sky. Demonic cauldron, come out. The demonic cauldron's lid looked inside. Swoosh. A figure flew out as fast as lightning. Sword of Souls. A deep voice resounded in the cave. The demonic cauldron screamed in agony as his body flew out. Chapter 301. Lin Feng's soul power had reached the yin-yang realm fifth firmament. This was an extremely terrifying soul power. Lin Feng had also cultivated the soul sword, a secret soul technique. With his soul power at the yin-yang realm fifth firmament, he could definitely injure the green-robed elder if he used the secret soul technique. Just as expected, the green-robed elder didn't expect Lin Feng to still be alive. He thought that Lin Feng had been devoured by the 10,000 ghosts and only evil ghosts were left. Then, the 10,000 ghosts would gather and the soul-devouring Gonfalon would be refined successfully. Who would have thought that Lin Feng would be fine? Moreover, he had devoured the 10,000 ghosts and his soul power had greatly increased. Moreover, he had ambushed the green-robed elder when he opened the demonic cauldron and severely injured him. Sky Tyrant Lightning Incantation. Lin Feng roared. He gathered the power of lightning and attacked the green-robed elder. At this moment, the green-robed elder's soul was severely injured. This was the best time to kill him. If he missed this opportunity, it wouldn't be easy to kill him again. Dense amounts of lightning gathered. The ball of lightning condensed in Lin Feng's hand. It contained destructive power. Lin Feng held the ball of lightning in his hand and immediately threw it towards the old man. Bang! This attack landed heavily on the green-robed elder. However, what shocked Lin Feng was that when his attack landed, the green-robed elder's body emitted a terrifying power. That strength surrounded the old man's body, and in a flash, Lin Feng's attack was dispersed by the mysterious strength released by the old man's body. As for Lin Feng, it was as if he had been struck by lightning. His body flew back and slammed into the stone wall. A large portion of the stone wall collapsed. Soul Secret Technique. You actually used a Soul Secret Technique to injure my soul origin. Where's my soul-devouring Gonfalon? Where's my soul-devouring Gonfalon? The green-robed old man felt a little better at this moment. He roared angrily and rushed towards Lin Feng. The green-robed old man raised his right hand and sent a palm strike towards Lin Feng. That terrifying strength made Lin Feng feel like he was suffocating. Although the green-robed elder's soul had been severely injured and his strength had decreased sharply, A yin-yang cultivator was still a yin-yang cultivator. Existences at this level possessed unfathomable power. An existence at this level was so powerful that it was hard to believe. Sword of the Soul. When the green-robed old man attacked, Lin Feng once again used the soul sword to attack the green-robed old man's soul a second time. But this time, Lin Feng failed. The green-robed old man's body was covered with a strange power that blocked Lin Feng's attack. That power was the one that had sent Lin Feng flying. Its magical power. Lin Feng instantly thought of a certain terrifying ability of yin-yang realm experts. When one cultivated to the yin-yang realm, their true qi would transform into magical power. Cultivators below the yin-yang realm couldn't fly by relying on their own strength. But if they had magical power, it was said that they could soar into the heavens and descend into the netherworld. There was nothing they couldn't do. Magical power. It allowed yin-yang realm cultivators to obtain many inconceivable abilities. This was the reason why yin-yang realm cultivators were so powerful. It was because they had magical power. With magical power, Fan Tao broke away from being a martial artist. He began to pursue immortality. A martial king expert only had a lifespan of 200 years, but a yin-yang realm cultivator with magical power would have a lifespan of at least 1,000 years. As their cultivation increased, their lifespan would also increase. Some old monsters could even live for 10,000 years. What covered the green-robed old man was powerful magical power. Therefore, Lin Feng's attack couldn't injure the green-robed old man at all. An existence at this level was too terrifying. The reason why Lin Feng was able to injure the black-robed old man with his first attack was because the black-robed old man was caught off guard. Just as the black-robed old man's attack was about to kill Lin Feng, a green light flew out of Lin Feng's dantian. Bronze. It was the mysterious bronze. Lin Feng took out this powerful treasure. The green-robed old man was only 3 or 4 meters away from Lin Feng. At this distance, it was very difficult for him to dodge. What is that? The green-robed old man sneered. He didn't think much of the bronze fragment. He raised his right hand and sent a palm strike at the bronze fragment. But the bronze fragment was too powerful. With a puchi, it pierced through the green-robed old man's palm and then through his chest. The green-robed old man was sent flying. A bloody hole had appeared in his chest, and blood was gushing out. Good chance. Lin Feng gritted his teeth and soared into the sky, attacking the green-robed old man. But he felt his body go weak. With his current strength, activating the bronze fragment had consumed almost all of the energy in his body. Although the bronze fragment was powerful, it consumed too much energy. But Lin Feng knew that he had to hold on. The bronze fragment flew into Lin Feng's dantian and hid. Lin Feng took out the black dragon sword. He held it in his hand and spread his golden wings. He quickly charged at the black-robed old man and slashed at him. "Little bastard, I'm going to kill you." The black-robed old man roared furiously. He was a yin-yang realm cultivator, but he had been seriously injured by a general realm ant. The black-robed old man was about to go crazy from anger. He roared and raised his left hand to slap Lin Feng. His palm was surrounded by powerful magic power. A yin-yang realm cultivator's magic power was very terrifying. Ordinary magic treasures couldn't break through it, but Lin Feng's black dragon sword was too powerful. It was a treasured sword in the Divine Sword Manual, so it was naturally tyrannical. When the sword slashed down, Lin Feng cut off the green-robed old man's arm. "Ah, my arm." The green-robed old man let out an incomparably mournful scream. He swept his right hand through the air, and powerful magic power surged out. The green-robed old man's magic power ruthlessly slammed into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was sent flying, and his body crashed into the cave. He flew dozens of meters away. A yin-yang realm cultivator's attack could even kill a martial king, let alone a general realm cultivator. But Lin Feng's physical body was too strong. Although he had suffered a heavy blow, his life wasn't in danger. He quickly got up, used his golden wings, and soared into the sky, fleeing into the distance. "Ah, little bastard, where are you going?" The green-robed old man roared furiously. He wanted to get up and chase after Lin Feng, but he tore open his wound. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Chapter 302. In a secluded cave, Lin Feng was lying on the ground, gasping for breath. He had never thought that he would be able to escape from the green-robed elder and even severely injure the old devil. It was truly unbelievable. If it weren't for the fact that he had several treasures that caught the green-robed elder off guard, and that the green-robed elder didn't think much of him, he would have been careless and almost killed. Lin Feng felt very tired. Soon, he closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Lin Feng didn't know how much time had passed. It was getting dark outside and Lin Feng finally woke up. His face was still pale. The black-robed elder's attack had landed on Lin Feng's body, almost causing his internal organs to shift. If his physical body wasn't strong enough, the black-robed elder's attack would have taken his life. Lin Feng sat cross-legged and circulated the primordial dragonesque elephant art to heal his injuries. Waves of primordial dragonesque elephant's power flowed through his limbs and bones. Lin Feng felt his injured body recovering bit by bit. 6 hours later, Lin Feng opened his eyes and let out a long breath. His injuries had finally healed. At this moment, the sky outside was already bright. Lin Feng rushed out of the cave and continued to search for the whereabouts of the bluestone martial talisman in the Fire Dragon Ridge. That afternoon, more than 10 cultivators rushed over from afar. These cultivators were all pale, their clothes were tattered, and they were in a sorry state. When a cultivator saw Lin Feng walking towards the depths of the forest, he reminded him, "Little brother, don't go in. There's a demon inside." Demon? Lin Feng was shocked. The cultivator smiled bitterly and said, "It's a little demon that deserves to be stabbed 1,000 times. Let's go quickly. If that little demon appears, who knows what terrifying things will happen." The cultivator's companion reminded him. The cultivators quickly left. "Little demon? What's that?" Lin Feng muttered. He changed direction and continued walking deeper into the forest. The next day, when Lin Feng was passing through a forest, he saw more than 10 cultivators being stopped. She was a charming girl with a graceful figure. She wore a long dress that perfectly displayed her figure. However, her face was covered with a veil. Her watery eyes sparkled from time to time. Clearly, this girl was not as innocent as she appeared to be. "I opened this road, and I planted these trees. If you want to pass, you have to pay the toll." The young girl snorted. "Haha, where did this little girl come from? How dare you block our path? Nice figure. Brothers, why don't we have some fun? Since he delivered himself to my doorstep, let's just enjoy it." The group of people looked at the young girl and laughed lewdly. Clearly, in this vast ancient forest, the evil thoughts in many people's hearts were infinitely magnified. Because in this place, even if they did something outrageous, they could still hide it. Now, facing a young girl who did not know the immensity of heaven and earth, the evil thoughts in these people's hearts were stimulated. "Oomph!" The young girl snorted arrogantly and said, "Since you don't know how to appreciate kindness, don't blame me for being impolite. Blackie, come out." As soon as the young girl finished speaking, rumbling sounds could be heard. The earth shook and the mountains shook. Following that, from the depths of the valley not far away, a huge creature rushed out. It was a pitch-black giant dog that was 1,000 meters tall. Most importantly, this giant dog had 3 ferocious heads. Moreover, this giant dog emitted a sinister and terrifying aura, as if it was the aura of hell. 3-headed hellhound. Lin Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. The classic of mountains and seas had an introduction to the hellhound. Rumor had it that this was the guardian beast of the netherworld. The hellhound's bloodline was not comparable to a cheilant's, a true dragon, a phoenix. Such a divine beast's bloodline was weak. However, the hellhound had always been a legendary existence and had never appeared in the world. Why would there be a hellhound here? Lin Feng sensed the aura of the hellhound and soon found something wrong. The hellhound's aura was not particularly strong. Lin Feng estimated that its strength should be at the Martial King realm. Rumor had it that the hellhound was comparable to a top divine beast. It definitely did not have such strength. Could it be that it only had the bloodline of the hellhound? Or could it be that this hellhound was still in its infancy? Although the hellhound's body was large enough, Lin Feng had heard from the fire Qilin that some powerful beasts knew how to transform into a huge monster to intimidate others. Three-headed hellhound, run. The dozen or so cultivators were so scared that their faces turned pale. They turned around and ran. Blackie, beat them up. The young girl snorted. Roar. The hellhound let out a low roar, waved its huge claws, and slapped at the dozen or so cultivators. Bang, bang, bang. A series of violent collisions were heard. Wretched cries rang out as one cultivator after another was sent flying by the hellhound's attacks. Wah! Many people vomited blood and fell to the ground, screaming. How dare you speak rudely to this great ant? You all deserve to die. The young girl snorted. Spare us. Great ant, please spare us. We have eyes but did not recognize Mount Tai. Please let us go. The group of cultivators knelt on the ground and kowtowed in apology. Among them, there was even a Martial King Realm cultivator who was scared half to death by the hellhound. He kowtowed even more fiercely than the Martial General Realm cultivators because he was the one who had said that he wanted to be happy. Now, he was afraid that the hellhound would slap him to death. A bunch of trash. We haven't even fought yet, and you're already so scared. The young girl snorted, then said, Hurry up and hand over your treasures and scram. The dozen or so people hurriedly took off their storage rings and handed them to the young girl. Although their hearts ached, it was better than losing their lives, right? The dozen or so people rolled and crawled away from this place. Hee, I've made a fortune again. Blackie, here's your reward. The young girl took out a piece of meat surrounded by a golden light and threw it to the hellhound. Roar! The golden light emitted a dragon's roar, and a golden figure could be vaguely seen. A golden flood dragon. Good heavens, this is flood dragon meat. The weakest flood dragon is said to be a martial king. A palm-sized piece of flood dragon meat is said to cost more than 1 billion gold coins. Such a large piece of flood dragon meat would probably cost billions of gold coins. Lin Feng clicked his tongue. The golden flood dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws at the hellhound. The hellhound roared, opened its bloody mouth, and swallowed the flood dragon meat. Chapter 303. This girl must be the little demon that the cultivators I met before were talking about. Lin Feng was speechless. How could such a delicate and lovely girl commit such a thing as robbery in the Fire Dragon Ridge? However, as long as they didn't provoke a yin-yang realm expert, no one could do anything to them. After eating the flood dragon meat, the Cerberus seemed very satisfied. Let's go somewhere else. The girl snapped her fingers. The Cerberus quickly shrank until it was 3 meters long and 2 meters tall. The girl rode on the Cerberus, and the Cerberus quickly rushed into the distance. This Cerberus really knows how to transform. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. The ability displayed by the Cerberus was truly shocking and shocking. Lin Feng felt that the Cerberus might really be in its infancy, which was why its strength hadn't increased. It was a pity that the fire Qilin wasn't by his side. If it was, it would be able to see through the Cerberus. Lin Feng didn't stop and continued to rush into the forest. In the next few days, Lin Feng walked through more than half of the Fire Dragon Ridge, but he didn't find the second Bluestone Talisman. This made Lin Feng a little discouraged. However, there was still a large area of forest that he hadn't searched. When the time came, he would take a look and see if he could find anything. One afternoon, Lin Feng went to a small stream to get some water to drink. Beside the stream, there was a beautiful girl with an exquisite figure resting here. There was also a palm-sized Cerberus by her side. After seeing Lin Feng, the girl revealed a devilish smile and said, "Boy, it's a robbery. Hand over the storage ring on your hand." As the girl spoke, she looked at the storage ring on Lin Feng's hand, and her eyes shone brightly. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. Surprisingly, it was that young woman. He had seen her rob a dozen cultivators before. She also had a 3-headed hellhound. The hellhound had shrunk back to its original size, but it still looked ferocious and terrifying. Did you rob the wrong person? Think as far as you can. Otherwise, I don't mind letting you have a taste of my dragon claws. Lin Feng reached out and grabbed at the air. His eyes were fixed on the bulge in front of the girl's chest. This young girl didn't seem to be very old, but her pair of protruding breasts were quite impressive. What a type of beauty. Bastard, where are you looking? Do you believe that I won't gouge your eyeballs out? The young girl used her hands to protect her chest. She naturally knew how alluring her pair of huge peaks were.
Cough, cough.
Lin Feng coughed and said, "If you know you're scared, then hurry up and leave. This is the wilderness. Who knows what I might do to you?" Big Black, beat him up. The young girl shouted angrily. Roar. The miniature Cerberus at the girl's feet let out a low growl. Then, the Cerberus body began to grow. In the blink of an eye, it was 1,000 meters tall. It glared at Lin Feng fiercely, its 3 heads swaying fiercely. The young girl looked at Lin Feng proudly and said, "Do you see, Big Black? 1 claw is enough to smash you into pieces. Hurry up and chop off your own claws so that I can vent my anger. Otherwise, I'll let Big Black smash you into meat paste." Whoosh! Lin Feng moved. In an instant, he crossed dozens of meters and rushed toward the young girl. Ah, what speed! Big Black, beat him up, the young girl exclaimed. The Cerberus roar shook the sky. It waved its huge claws and slapped at Lin Feng. Lin Feng quickly dodged Big Black's claw and rushed toward the young girl. At that moment, the jade bracelet in the young girl's hand suddenly emitted a shocking fluctuation. It was obviously a treasure. The young girl quickly rose into the air and floated in midair. Let's see if you can still touch me," the young girl shouted proudly. Lin Feng missed. The hellhound raised its claws and attacked Lin Feng again. The Cerberus attack was very powerful. Lin Feng didn't want to meet it head-on. He quickly retreated, dodging the Cerberus attack. Bang! The Cerberus claw destroyed a large part of the forest. Lin Feng flew a few hundred meters away and stood on top of a low mountain. The young girl snorted. "I didn't expect you to be so capable. However, you're unlucky to have met me today. When the Cerberus catches you, I'll teach you a lesson." The young girl put her hands on her waist and said coldly, "It just so happens that I need a maid to warm my bed. I like girls like you the most. You're young, but you're well-developed. Your body is soft. When the time comes, I'll definitely enjoy myself to the fullest," Lin Feng said. The young girl gnashed her teeth in anger. "Bastard! You pervert! I'll castrate you and send you to the palace to be a eunuch." Hee hee. The young girl suddenly laughed and clapped her hands. "I'm such a genius. Big Black, hurry up and catch this pervert. I'm going to castrate him." Lin Feng's face darkened. This young girl was quite fierce. Roar. The Cerberus let out a low roar and leaped toward Lin Feng. Its huge claws swiped at Lin Feng. Whoosh! Lin Feng stomped his right foot on the ground, and his body shot several hundred meters away. The young girl was shocked because Lin Feng was too fast. The 3-headed hellhound missed its target once again, and it immediately roared in anger. After several attacks, it was unable to touch Lin Feng. The Cerberus was furious, and its 3 ferocious heads shook. Waves of terrifying fluctuations were emitted from the Cerberus body. Suddenly, the Cerberus opened its bloody mouth. A ball of flame condensed in each of the Cerberus' 3 heads. Hell Demon Flame. Lin Feng was shocked. This was the number 1 demon flame. Billions of demon flames. The Cerberus demon flame was the number 1 demon flame. It was on par with the Fire Chelan, Phoenix, and other divine beasts' demon flames. As for the 3 balls of flame that were condensed from the hellhound's bloody mouth, they were condensed from hellfire. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 balls of flame all flew toward Lin Feng, who was still in the air. The young girl laughed. "Let's see how you dodge Big Black's innate divine ability." The 3 balls of hell bestial fire were about to crash onto Lin Feng's body. Right at this moment, a pair of golden energy wings appeared on Lin Feng's back. Lin Feng summoned his golden wings. With a flap of his wings, he soared into the sky like a bolt of golden lightning. The 3 balls of flame that the Cerberus condensed from hell demon flames collided in the air and exploded. A large area of the forest was instantly destroyed. Chapter 304. You know how to fly. Seeing that Lin Feng knew how to fly, the girl's expression changed slightly, but she quickly regained her composure. Swoosh! Lin Feng rushed towards the girl, saying, Today, I'm going to destroy you. I'm afraid you don't have that ability." The girl snorted coldly. Following that, a golden treasure flew out with a flash of light. It was a pair of golden scissors, and it emitted shocking energy waves. "When I catch you, I'll use my dragon scissors to chop you into pieces." The girl's lips curled into a devilish smile, and her large eyes looked at Lin Feng's lower body. Lin Feng immediately felt a chill run down his spine. The dragon scissors were an amazing treasure, and it was a peak-level spirit treasure. Such a treasure could not be bought with money. One could only barter for it. One had to spend a large amount of spirit stones to buy a treasure like the dragon scissors. Now, the treasure streaked across the sky towards Lin Feng. Swoosh! With a flash of light, Lin Feng took out the black dragon sword. With the black dragon sword in hand, he slashed at the girl's scissors. Clang! With a resounding clash, the scissors were sent flying by Lin Feng's black dragon sword. The girl said angrily, "What kind of broken sword is that? How could it send my dragon scissors flying?" "Of course it's a peerless treasure sword," Lin Feng said proudly. The black dragon sword could not kill people from a distance like other treasures. However, the materials used to forge it were too precious. The black dragon sword was indestructible. Powerful treasures, right? If my black dragon sword slashes it a few times, it will still be destroyed. This was the terrifying aspect of the black dragon sword. After Lin Feng's attack sent the scissors flying, the scissors lost a lot of their spirituality. The girl gnashed her teeth in anger and shouted, "You bastard!" Lin Feng was speechless. "You used the dragon scissors to attack me, but I'm not allowed to fight back? I'll castrate you, you bastard!" The girl shouted angrily. Groan. Then, a dragon's roar was heard. The flood dragon scissors golden light soared into the sky. Within the golden light, a flood dragon with bared fangs and brandished claws condensed. The flood dragon charged straight at Lin Feng. The flood dragon scissors was a pinnacle spirit artifact, so it naturally had its own artifact spirit. Now that the artifact spirit had awakened, its power had increased greatly. "You're still far from it," Lin Feng coldly snorted. He wasn't afraid of a magic treasure of this level. He quickly rushed over and slashed out with his sword. Within the black dragon sword, an endless amount of black gas was emitted. Within the black gas, a black dragon was formed. The black dragon roared, causing the flood dragon to tremble in fear. The flood dragon was actually not a true dragon. The flood dragon looked like a dragon. To be more precise, it should be called a flood dragon. A demonic snake that had cultivated its Tao would become more and more powerful with the passage of time. Thus, there was the story of a 1,000-year dragon and a 10,000-year dragon. The flood dragon was a grade lower than the dragon, so its strength was naturally much weaker. Therefore, when the flood dragon scissors artifact spirit saw the black dragon sword's artifact spirit, it was scared to such an extent. Lin Feng viciously slashed down with his sword. The flood dragon scissors were sent flying dozens of meters away. Whoosh! Then, the golden wings flapped. Lin Feng turned into a golden bolt of lightning and rushed towards the girl. The girl's expression changed. She wanted to run away, but it was already too late. Lin Feng instantly rushed to the girl's side and lightly tapped her body. Immediately, the girl's condensed true qi dissipated. Then, Lin Feng hugged the girl's small waist. At such a close distance, he smelled a tempting virgin fragrance from the girl's body. "Ah, you bastard, let go of me." The girl struggled violently. Roar! The Cerberus let out a low growl and glared at Lin Feng fiercely. It seemed like it wanted to pounce on him, but now that the girl was in Lin Feng's hands, it didn't dare act rashly. "Little girl, you didn't expect to fall into my hands, did you?" Lin Feng looked at the girl in his arms with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. "If you don't let go of me, I'll make you regret ever being born," the girl said fiercely. Lin Feng smiled and said, "The one thing I'm least afraid of is threats. Let me see what you look like first." With that, Lin Feng tore off the girl's veil. In an instant, a delicate and beautiful face was revealed. It was a face that was about the size of a palm. Her facial features were exquisite, as if she was a masterpiece created by the heavens. Her large, watery eyes made her look very pitiful. Any man who saw this beautiful face would definitely feel pity for her. However, Lin Feng knew that under such a perfect face was a two-faced person. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a beauty before? Let go of me, you pervert. The girl gnashed her teeth and shouted, You're in my hands, and you still dare to speak rudely? You're asking for a beating. Lin Feng groaned coldly and jumped down. He sat down on a stone and put the girl on his lap. Her round and supple buttocks were facing him. What are you trying to do? The girl looked at Lin Feng in horror. Roar. The Cerberus also roared and glared at Lin Feng fiercely. It looked like it was about to pounce on him. Hurry up and turn small. Otherwise, I'll first rape and kill your master, Lin Feng said to the Cerberus. The Cerberus was extremely intelligent. When it heard Lin Feng's threat, it didn't want to give up, but in the end, it obediently shrank back to the size of a hand. It became a mini version of the Cerberus. Lin Feng nodded in satisfaction and said, That's right. It's too scary to look so big. The girl bared her fangs and brandished her claws. Do you know who I am? I'll scare you to death if I tell you. Hurry up and let me go. I know you're my prisoner. Lin Feng snorted coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his right hand and slapped the girl's butt. Slap. A loud slap was heard. The girl's butt trembled slightly from Lin Feng's slap. This feeling. Lin Feng's heart trembled slightly. How could such a private place be touched by a man? The girl blushed and reached out to scratch Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng grabbed her hand with his other hand. You're still not obedient. Looks like you haven't been beaten enough. Lin Feng snorted coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, he slapped her again. Slap. A loud slap was heard again. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. This feeling was really good. Bastard, bastard. I'm going to kill you. The girl screamed. Slap, slap, slap. Lin Feng slapped her 3 times in a row. Woo-woo. The girl's eyes suddenly became misty. She cried out in grievance. You're a bully. Lin Feng said, You were the one who wanted to deal with me first. Now you're blaming me. Yes, you're a bully. The girl said with tears in her eyes. In the world, only women and villains were difficult to deal with. Of course, it was impossible to reason with a woman. Looking at the girl's tear-stained face, she looked even more pitiful. Lin Feng was just joking with the girl. He wanted to let her go, but at that moment, a gloomy voice said, What a perfect match. But today, you're doomed to become a pair of miserable lovebirds. A one-armed demon wearing a green robe appeared out of nowhere. In a flash, he appeared in front of Lin Feng and the girl. He threw a punch at them. It was the green-robed old man whose arm had been cut off by Lin Feng. The old man had silently snuck over and launched a sneak attack on Lin Feng and the girl. His terrifying attack enveloped the two of them, and they had no time to dodge. They're dead. Lin Feng and the young woman's faces turned deathly pale. Under the attack of the old man in the green robe, they had the feeling that they were going to die. They had the feeling that they were going to die. Chapter 305. A Yin-Yang Realm Expert. Even if he had been severely injured not long ago and his strength had dropped sharply, if he wanted to kill someone with a sneak attack, even a Yin-Yang Realm cultivator could die. Not to mention Lin Feng and the girl. The two of them were only martial generals. The difference between them and the green-robed ancestor was too great. After recovering slightly from his injuries, the green-robed ancestor came out to search for Lin Feng's whereabouts. After finding him, he had been looking for a rare opportunity. Now, the old devil had found this opportunity. The old devil had a sinister expression. His eyes were filled with dense killing intent. When he attacked, he intended to kill Lin Feng and the girl. Danger. The situation was extremely dangerous. Roar. At that moment, a black figure appeared. The Cerberus turned into a 3-meter-long and 2-meter-tall form. This form of the Cerberus was extremely fast. Dogs had an extremely sharp sense of smell. Moreover, the Cerberus was in existence comparable to true dragons, phoenixes, cheilants, and other divine beasts. Therefore, when the green-robed ancestor appeared, the Cerberus pounced. The Cerberus opened its bloody mouth and bit at the green-robed ancestor. This guy was really loyal to his master. What? It's actually a Cerberus? The old devil was shocked. The Cerberus had turned into a miniature, palm-sized one, so the green-robed ancestor didn't notice it. Now that the Cerberus had grown bigger, he recognized it at a glance. You're courting death, the green-robed ancestor shouted coldly. The palm that was originally aimed at Lin Feng and the girl was aimed at the Cerberus. There was nothing he could do about it. If he insisted on killing Lin Feng and the girl, the Cerberus would definitely pounce over with its speed. Even a yin-yang realm cultivator would be bitten to death by such a ferocious demon beast. A loud bang was heard. The old devil's attack landed fiercely on the Cerberus body. The Cerberus was sent flying. A bloody line was left in the air. The Cerberus slammed into a mountain peak. Unable to withstand such a powerful impact, the mountain collapsed, burying the Cerberus within. Whoosh! Seizing this opportunity, Lin Feng quickly flew into the air with the girl to put some distance between them and the old devil. Big Black, don't die. The young girl cried sadly, looking very helpless. This three-headed hellhound was obviously not just a simple pet of the girl. It could be said that they were family. They were playmates. They were friends. Now that the Cerberus had been struck by a yin-yang realm expert, it was indeed possible for it to be killed in one strike. Roar! At this moment, a weak voice came from the ruins. He's not dead. Big Black is not dead. Hurry up and save him. The girl grabbed Lin Feng's arm tightly with both hands. Hold me tight, Lin Feng said in a low voice. The young girl hurriedly nodded and hugged Lin Feng tightly. Lin Feng spread his golden wings and pushed their speed to the limit. Like a bolt of golden lightning, he rushed to the ruins in an instant. With a wave of his hand, a gust of wind swept up and rocks flew into the air. The injured Cerberus appeared in his line of sight. Now, the Cerberus was only the size of a palm and had turned back into a miniature Cerberus. However, there was a lot of blood on its body. It was clearly injured by the old devil's attack. Lin Feng quickly caught the Cerberus and handed it to the girl. Big Black, you're fine. That's great. The girl hugged the Cerberus in her arms. Roar! The Cerberus let out a weak cry. This should be the true form of the Cerberus. Some powerful ferocious beasts or ferocious beasts with extremely powerful bloodlines could transform. However, once they were injured, the energy in their bodies could no longer support their transformation. At this time, they would return to their original size. This Cerberus was indeed a cub. It was worthy of being a race comparable to true dragons, phoenixes, cheilants, and other divine beasts. Such a cub was already so powerful and knew how to transform. As it continued to grow, the Cerberus would awaken more and more powerful abilities. Lin Feng didn't dare to stay and quickly fled into the distance. The old devil was a yin-yang realm powerhouse. An existence of this level was not something he could fight against. If he could win, he would fight. If he couldn't win, he would run. This was Lin Feng's principle. Boy, you can't run away, the green-robed elder said fiercely and quickly chased after him. Originally, the green-robed elder knew the imprisonment spell, but now that he was severely injured, he couldn't use it to imprison Lin Feng. He could only chase after him. Old turtle, just you wait. When I become stronger, I'll skin you alive, said Lin Feng ferociously. Little dog, you want to die. You want to die. I'm going to kill you with 1,000 cuts. Do you know that? I'm going to cut off your flesh piece by piece until you die. I'm going to make you taste endless pain before you die. That's the only way to vent my anger, roared the old devil furiously. He was about to lose his mind. The soul-devouring banner, which he had spent so much time and effort to refine for 800 years, had been destroyed by Lin Feng. Tens of thousands of evil spirits had been devoured by Lin Feng. That was the first thing he hated. One of his arms had been cut off. He had also been severely injured. That was the second thing he hated. There were two things he hated. That was enough to make the old devil want to cut Lin Feng into 10,000 pieces. Old turtle, you're daydreaming. I'll live a carefree life, and then I'll take your life, Lin Feng replied with a sneer. He wasn't afraid of anyone when it came to a war of words. The green-robed elder was so angry that he jumped up and down. He didn't say anything else and quickly chased after him. Lin Feng and the young woman were running at full speed. However, no matter what, he couldn't shake off the green-robed elder. Moreover, as time passed, Lin Feng's disadvantage began to show. After all, Lin Feng was only a cultivator at the martial general realm. On the other hand, the old devil was a yin-yang realm expert. Lin Feng's savings couldn't be compared to a yin-yang realm expert. After 6 hours, he still couldn't shake off the green-robed elder. The distance between the two was getting closer and closer, and it was less than 20 meters. The old devil could catch up to him at any time. What should we do? He's about to catch up. Why don't we fight him? The girl said while biting her lips. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, "That'll be suicide." He flew madly into the depths of the forest. A dilapidated temple appeared in front of him. It was probably the mountain god temple or some other temple in the past. It emitted a gloomy aura, and it was terrifyingly quiet. It seemed that no one had been here for many years. Lin Feng rushed forward. At that moment, a boundless blood-red light appeared above the temple. A towering demon god appeared within the blood-red light. The demon god's blood-red hair danced in the wind. The demon god roared at the sky, causing the mountains to tremble. Heavens, a demon god. What do we do? The girl said with a pale face. The old devil was hot on their heels, so they couldn't change directions. Charge! Lin Feng gritted his teeth and rushed towards the demon god. Boom! When Lin Feng and the girl reached the demon god's side, Lin Feng felt as if time had reversed, and he and the girl had disappeared without a trace. Damn it! Where did they go? The old devil's expression was extremely gloomy. He also rushed towards the demon god, thinking that he would disappear like Lin Feng and the girl. But who would have thought that the demon god with blood-red hair would roar and punch at the old devil? Shocked, the old devil punched at the devil. There was a loud bang as the two sides fiercely collided. The black-robed elder was sent flying and coughed up blood in midair. As for the demon god with blood-red hair, it disappeared without a trace. Chapter 306. What's this place? The girl looked around in confusion. It was a world filled with fog, and visibility was very low. She couldn't tell where they were. Lin Feng said, "This is probably a mysterious space, right?" He had heard from the Fire Qilin that some peerless experts were able to create mysterious spaces that were connected to this world. If one could find a spatial node, they would be able to enter these spaces. Earlier, he had seen the fiend god with blood-red hair suddenly appear, and now they were in such a strange place. Lin Feng suspected that they had entered one of the mysterious spaces the Fire Qilin had mentioned. The girl said gloomily, "Then we're in trouble. I heard that once you enter a mysterious space, it's very difficult to leave. We won't be trapped here, right?" "Don't worry. Since we can enter, we can definitely leave," Lin Feng said. Hearing Lin Feng's words of comfort, the girl calmed down slightly. She wrinkled her nose and asked, "What's your name?" "Lin Feng, what about you?" "Long Yushi. Your dog seems to be injured quite badly." Lin Feng glanced at the weak-looking Cerberus. It had been so fierce before. Now, it looked like it was half dead. However, the Cerberus was very loyal. For its master, it had risked its life to attack the old devil. Long Yushi sighed and said, "Ordinary spirit medicines won't be able to heal Big Black. We can only rely on Big Black to slowly recover." She reached out and gently stroked the Cerberus, full of tenderness. Roar! The Cerberus raised its head and gently rubbed its head against Long Yushi's hand. "Let's go in and take a look," Lin Feng said. Long Yushi nodded and went in with Lin Feng. However, due to the low visibility, they could only feel their way forward. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. Lin Feng looked down and saw that it was a corpse that had been crushed by his foot. Lin Feng squatted down and examined the corpse. The corpse had been dead for too long and had already decayed. Long Yushi said, "It seems that other than us, there were others who mistakenly entered this place, but they died here in the end." Lin Feng nodded and said, "A place like this will definitely attract many people. I even suspect that there might be other opportunities here." Lin Feng thought of the fiend god with 3,000 feet of blood-red hair. Why did he suddenly appear? Was it a phantom? Were they guarding this place? Lin Feng and Long Yushi carefully walked towards the depths. Suddenly, a gust of cold wind swept over. That cold wind made Lin Feng and Long Yushi involuntarily shudder. Roar! The Cerberus that was originally lying in Long Yushi's arms suddenly raised its head and let out a series of low growls. Its eyes cautiously looked around. Long Yushi looked at the Cerberus and asked, "Big Black, what's wrong?" Lin Feng also looked at the Cerberus. This Cerberus was extremely sensitive to auras. Now that such an abnormal situation had occurred, it was likely that something unknown was about to happen. "Be careful," Lin Feng warned. He took out the black dragon sword and held it in his hand. His expression was grave as he observed the situation around him. Swoosh! Suddenly, a cold light came from behind at an extremely fast speed. That cold light directly slashed towards Long Yushi. Lin Feng reacted quickly and turned around to slash with his sword. Clang! A loud sound rang out. Lin Feng's attack fiercely collided with the cold light, and at that moment, Lin Feng clearly saw what it was. It was actually a skeleton that held a rusty saber in its hand. A skeleton! Lin Feng felt his hair stand on end. This was too strange. How could a skeleton be alive? It was an inanimate object. However, all of this was happening right before his eyes. The skeleton's neck turned slightly, and a cracking sound could be heard. Two clusters of green light flickered in the skeleton's eye sockets, like two ghostly flames. It was extremely horrifying. "This is an undead. It's an undead creature," Long Yushi said with a pale face. Swoosh! The skeleton attacked again. This time, it locked onto Lin Feng and pounced towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He held the black dragon sword with both hands and circulated the archaic dragonesque elephant art. A powerful force continuously poured into the black dragon sword. Wong! The black dragon sword shot out a 2-meter-long sword ray. Lin Feng swung his sword down. Clang! A loud sound rang out as the two sides fiercely collided again. This time, the rusty saber in the skeleton's hand was broken by Lin Feng's sword. Lin Feng's attack landed on the skeleton's body. The skeleton was sent flying and fell to the ground. Its bones scattered all over the ground. Lin Feng let out a sigh of relief. However, something that made one's hair stand on end happened. The scattered skeletons on the ground actually reformed again. Pacha! Pacha! Soon, the skeletons were perfectly reassembled. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng and Long Yushi's faces turned ugly. "Run!" Lin Feng shouted. This skeleton couldn't be killed. It was an undead creature. Lin Feng and Long Yushi ran towards the depths of the forest. Whoosh! In the fog, a cold light surged. Another skeleton rushed over from the left, waving its broken sword towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng sent the skeleton flying with a slash. On the right, a skeleton wielded a blood axe and charged towards Long Yushi. Long Yushi took out the flood dragon scissors and sent the skeleton flying. On both sides, skeletons constantly attacked Lin Feng and Long Yushi, but they were all repelled by them. Behind them, more and more skeletons appeared. There were at least hundreds of them. Crack! Crack! In front of them, more than a dozen skeletons appeared, blocking Lin Feng and Long Yushi's path. Both of their faces became extremely ugly. There was an obstruction in front and pursuers behind. This seemed to be a situation of certain death. Kill! Facing this dangerous situation, Lin Feng used the Sky Tyrant Thunder Art. Bolts of lightning bombarded the skeletons in front of them. Bang! 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 The lightning sent 6 or 7 skeletons flying, but there were still 6 or 7 skeletons pouncing towards them. "We have to rush over. If we're surrounded, we're dead," Lin Feng roared. Holding the black dragon sword, he quickly rushed towards the skeletons in front of him. Long Yushi gritted her teeth and also rushed over. The two of them immediately fought with the 6 or 7 skeletons. A skeleton silently appeared behind Long Yushi and stabbed its sword at Long Yushi. "Dodge!" Lin Feng shouted and quickly rushed over, pushing Long Yushi away. Puff! The skeleton's sword directly pierced through Lin Feng's shoulder, causing blood to flow out. Lin Feng swung his sword and chopped off the skeleton's head. Chapter 307. You're injured. Long Yushi looked at Lin Feng with a complicated expression. She never thought that Lin Feng would save her. Was this guy still that perverted hooligan from before? I'm fine. Let's hurry up and leave. If these skeletons catch up to us, we'll be in trouble, Lin Feng said. Long Yushi hurriedly nodded. She and Lin Feng did not dare to stay here any longer. They turned around and fled into the distance. Behind them, there were already hundreds of skeletons. These skeletons were not slow at all. They quickly chased after them. A gloomy aura swept over, causing Lin Feng and Long Yushi to feel that this gloomy aura seemed to have fused into their bones. Their movements seemed to have slowed down a lot. What should we do? We can't keep running like this, right? Sooner or later, we'll be caught, Long Yushi said with a pale face. The most important thing now is to find a place to hide. If we can't find a place to hide, we have to find a terrain that is advantageous to us. As long as we guard this place, these skeletons won't be able to come in, Lin Feng said. However, how could such a place be found just because they wanted to? Whether it was Long Yushi or Lin Feng, they were very clear on this point. However, in order to survive, they had to work hard to find it. They could not give up, otherwise, they would definitely be killed by these skeletons. The two of them rushed towards the depths. Although the skeletons were not slow, it was not easy for them to catch up to Lin Feng and Long Yushi. Rumble. Suddenly, the ground began to tremble violently. What's going on? Lin Feng and Long Yushi's expressions suddenly changed. This was not a good sign. Every move that happened here would inevitably make Lin Feng and Long Yushi vigilant. It was just as they had imagined. The ground in front of them cracked open. Following that, an incomparably huge skeleton palm stretched out from the depths of the ground. The skeletal hand grabbed the ground, and a terrifying aura spread out from the cracked ground. A huge creature crawled out of the hole. It was a huge skeleton that was over 100 meters tall. It was unknown what kind of monster it was when it was alive. Now that it had fallen, it had become an undead creature. That terrifying existence's huge claws slammed towards Lin Feng and Long Yushi. Hurry up and dodge, Lin Feng growled. He quickly jumped and dodged the attack with a few catapults. Long Yushi also successfully dodged the attack of this huge skeleton. But, following which, rumbling sounds continued to be heard as the ground continued to crack open. Sky-shaking roars rang out one after another. Huge skeletons crawled out from the ground one after another. There were more than 100 of them. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng and Long Yushi felt their scalps go numb. How many undead creatures were hidden here? We can't go over. Let's fly over. Catch me, Lin Feng shouted in a deep voice. Long Yushi did not dare to hesitate and quickly hugged Lin Feng. Swish, swish. Lin Feng unfolded his golden wings and directly soared into the sky, rushing towards the depths. The giant skeletons suddenly stomped the ground and rushed into the air like cannonballs. Then, they opened their huge claws and clawed towards Lin Feng and Long Yushi. It was a good thing that Lin Feng was agile enough. He was still in the air. He dodged the attacks of these giant skeletons. Swoosh! Lin Feng turned into a golden bolt of lightning and rushed out of the encirclement of the giant skeletons. But at this time, buzzing sounds came from all directions. Soon, a dense group of skeletons flew over. Those were skeletons that could fly. They were only the size of a thumb and were densely packed. There were so many of them that they seemed to cover the sky. These are killer demon insects. There are so many of them. These killer demon insects also turned into skeletons when they died. Look at the heads of those skeletons. There are sharp thorns that contain poison. If you are stung, your body will be poisoned and you will be unable to move, Long Yushi said with a pale face. There were so many killer demon insects, densely packed and innumerable. Encountering such a large group of terrifying creatures was almost certain death. It's fine, Lin Feng said in a low voice. Long Yushi raised her head and looked at Lin Feng in shock. She thought that she would not be able to escape. Lin Feng said it was fine. Could it be that he had a way to deal with these killer demon insects? Come out. Lin Feng waved his hand and took out the purple earthcore fire. With Lin Feng and Long Yushi as the center, the flames spread in all directions. The entire sky turned into a world of fire. The densely packed killer demon insects were enveloped by the heavenly fire. Sizzling sounds of burning could be heard. The killer demon insects were quickly burned to ashes by the heavenly fire. These killer demon insects were powerful because of their poison. It was not because of the killer demon insect strength. In fact, according to the classic of mountains and seas, the killer demon insects' bodies were very weak. Thus, the heavenly fire could easily burn their bodies to ashes. The killer demon insects' resistance was too weak. If they had the abilities of the undying skeletons, Lin Feng and Long Yushi would not be able to escape. Fortunately, these killer demon insects did not have the perverse abilities of the undying skeletons. What a powerful flame! What kind of flame is this? Long Yushi was shocked. She had seen many flames, but she had never seen one as powerful as Lin Feng's. Lin Feng said, an unknown type of divine flame. He naturally would not reveal all of his secrets to Long Yushi. Long Yushi seemed to be very dissatisfied with Lin Feng's answer and could not help but snort. Lin Feng spread his golden wings and quickly flew into the depths of the forest. However, at this moment, the ground began to collapse. Large swaths of the earth collapsed, and something terrifying was about to happen. Seeing this, Lin Feng did not dare to stay and madly rushed into the depths of the forest. Boom! A destructive aura emanated from the collapsed earth. Then, a huge skeletal hand reached out. That skeleton hand was becoming bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger, longer and longer. Very quickly, it was as big as a mountain, but it was still moving towards Lin Feng to grab him. Heavens! Seeing the skeletal hand, Lin Feng felt his scalp go numb. It was too terrifying. He did not know what level of undead creature this was to have such a terrifying ability. The hand seemed to be able to extend into the outer realm and grab the stars. Lin Feng pushed the archaic dragonesque elephant skill to its limit. The power of the archaic dragonesque elephant was continuously channeled into his golden wings as he madly fled into the depths of the forest. However, the huge hand that blotted out the sky was about to grab Lin Feng. No, I'm not willing to accept this. Lin Feng sensed a terrifying qi. He raised his head and saw a gigantic hand moving towards him. Lin Feng shouted furiously. He didn't want to be caught by that gigantic hand because he would definitely die. Look, there's a palace over there. Long Yushi, who was also pale, pointed to a mountain range not far away. In the middle of the mountain range stood a huge palace. Palace, let's go. Lin Feng gritted his teeth and fanned his golden wings wildly. Whoosh! His speed suddenly increased by a lot. The skeletal hand grabbed at him, and Lin Feng narrowly avoided it. Even if he was half a step slower, he would not be able to escape the fate of being caught. The skeletal hand did not catch Lin Feng, but it extended again and grabbed at him again. Meanwhile, Lin Feng and Long Yushi rushed to the front of the huge palace. The palace was 300 meters tall, and one couldn't see the end of it. It was simply too big. On the inscribed board of the palace, there were 4 ancient words. Those 4 words were resplendent with golden light. Eternal Temple. Chapter 308. The 4 words seemed to radiate a glory and immortality that had existed since ancient times. The Eternal Temple. Lin Feng and Long Yushi stared at the enormous temple in shock. The scale of the temple was so grand that it was visually stunning. Most importantly, the word eternal life deeply moved them. Who didn't want to live forever? Countless people cultivated for the sake of immortality. Immortals had it, like some ancient giants. When they cultivated to a high level, their lifespan would exceed 10,000 years. 5,000 years was enough for the world to change. What about 10,000 years? That was immortality. However, while some people could live forever, there was no such thing as immortality. What did the Temple of Eternal Life represent? Lin Feng and Long Yushi were astonished, but they quickly came back to their senses and rushed into the Eternal Life Shrine. The sky-blotting skeletal hand chased after them, but in the end, it stopped. It didn't dare enter the Eternal Temple. Roar! At the end of the earth, a furious roar rang out. It seemed to be the true body of the gigantic skeletal hand. He was enraged and actually allowed 2 ants to escape. This was something that the terrifying existence found hard to accept. Even though they were very far away, Lin Feng and Long Yushi's faces paled when they heard the roar. It was difficult to imagine how terrifying this existence was. It was too powerful. If they had been a little closer, they would have been shaken to death by that terrifying roar. Rumble. A thunderous sound shook the sky. The huge hand that seemed to cover the sky quickly retracted and soon disappeared without a trace. Look, those skeletons haven't left yet. Long Yushi pointed outside. Some of the skeletons looked in the direction of the Eternal Temple, the ghostly flames in their eyes flickering. They didn't dare to come forward, but they didn't leave either. They stayed there. Lin Feng said, "They're watching us." He then turned to look at the depths of the Eternal Temple. It was dark and empty inside. It was eerie, as if no one had come here for a long time. A thick layer of dust had accumulated on the ground. "Have you heard of the Eternal Temple?" Long Yushi asked. When she thought of the name, her voice trembled. This name represented too many meanings. Lin Feng shook his head and said, "I've never heard of it." Eternal life. Isn't this name very taboo? I really don't know where he got the courage to name it after eternal life. Perhaps if the Fire Qilin was here, he would have heard of the Eternal Life Shrine. But for Lin Feng and Long Yushi, the Eternal Life Shrine was full of mysteries and unknowns. The 2 of them headed deeper into the Temple of Eternal Life. Asterisk dong dong dong. Asterisk the sound of footsteps echoed in the hall and entered their ears. It was so clear that they could hear it. The first great hall was completely empty. There was nothing to be found. Long Yushi gazed into the depths of the Eternal Life Shrine, only to see boundless darkness and layers upon layers of palaces. He wondered how many palaces there were in the Eternal Life Shrine. Finally, Lin Feng and Long Yushi passed through the first palace and arrived at the second palace. There were a few dozen skeletons scattered here, and it was unknown how long they had been dead. Long Yushi's expression changed, worried that these skeletons would also become undead creatures. Lin Feng checked and said, "The bones have been weathered. They definitely won't become undead creatures." He picked up a bone and squeezed it lightly. The bone turned into powder. It's almost a conditioned reflex from being tortured by the undead creatures outside, Long Yushi said helplessly. The 2 of them went deeper and passed through 8 palaces, but they did not find anything. When they reached the depths of the 8th palace, they felt a terrifying aura emanating from the 9th palace. Roar! The Cerberus let out a low growl, and all the hair on its body stood on end. "What's in there? What a sinister aura!" Long Yushi said in shock. She looked at the 9th palace, her face slightly pale. Lin Feng was also worried that some terrifying creature would appear inside. However, there was no movement, which made him feel a little relieved. Although the aura was still very terrifying, there were no abnormalities. "Wait here. I'll go in and see what's going on," Lin Feng said, and then walked towards the 9th palace. The number 9 was a very special number. In the primordial age, the ancient Saint Emperor called himself the Supreme Nine. The number 9 represented the Supreme. Therefore, under normal circumstances, the number 9 could not be used casually. It was often a taboo. In the primordial age, in order to weaken the ancient Saint Emperor's status and raise the status of the ordinary people, the Supreme Nine was reduced to the Supreme Nine. Reduce 9 to 5. This was the origin of the Supreme Nine. Up until now, the human emperors of the various ancient dynasties were only the Supreme Nine, not the Supreme Nine of the primordial age. The palace in front of them was the 9th palace. Perhaps there was something strange about it. However, Lin Feng had to pass through the 9th palace because he might be able to find a way out in the depths. As Lin Feng approached the 9th palace, a terrifying aura pressed down on him. Crack, crack, the aura was too strong. It enveloped Lin Feng, and he heard cracking sounds. Lin Feng was astonished when he realized that his physical body was breaking apart like a piece of porcelain. The power in the 9th palace was too strange. It caused serious damage to Lin Feng's body. "No, hurry up and come back. You'll be killed by the power of the 9th palace," Long Yushi exclaimed, her face full of worry. "Don't worry about me. If I can't endure it, I'll come out." Lin Feng said. He gritted his teeth and continued walking towards the ninth palace. Crack, crack. Lin Feng's body was cracking more and more. The ninth palace seemed to be deliberately preventing people from entering. No matter who entered the ninth palace, they would be attacked by a terrifying attack. Lin Feng clenched his teeth and circulated the archaic dragon-esque elephant art. The powerful archaic dragon-esque elephant art flowed through his body and quickly healed his body. Lin Feng's body was recovering at an extremely fast speed. As his body continued to crack and heal, Lin Feng gradually approached the ninth palace. This guy's recovery ability is too abnormal. Long Yushi looked at Lin Feng in shock. The archaic dragon-esque elephant art was indeed worthy of being called a supreme technique. It quickly helped Lin Feng recover his body. Even the terrifying power in the ninth palace couldn't kill Lin Feng. If it had been someone else, their body would have cracked like porcelain and become a pile of minced meat. Finally, Lin Feng arrived in front of the ninth palace and looked into its depths. Lin Feng's eyes widened. He couldn't believe his eyes. How is this possible? In the depths of the ninth palace, a three-headed, six-armed demon god was nailed to the wall by a battle spear. Chapter 309. A three-headed, six-armed demon god was a legendary existence. Ever since the Great War of Gods and Demons, it had disappeared from the world, and the demon god race had never been seen again. Now, in the ninth palace, a three-headed, six-armed demon god had been nailed to death. Lin Feng stepped forward and entered the ninth palace. Boom! All the power in the ninth palace instantly dispersed. Lin Feng had broken through the ninth palace's suppression, and the murderous aura gradually disappeared. Long Yushi was shocked. She hadn't thought that the terrifying aura in the ninth palace would disappear. She had also entered the ninth palace. What's that? Long Yushi's eyes widened, full of shock and emotion. The three-headed hellhound in her arms cried out in fear. Even though the three-headed, six-armed demon god had died, it still emitted a terrifying aura. An ancient demon god, Lin Feng muttered. How could a demon god have died here? Long Yushi was shocked. First, outside, Lin Feng and Long Yushi had seen the demon god with blood-red hair. It was a phantom demon god, and it seemed to be protecting this mysterious space. Now, another demon god was nailed to death in the Temple of Eternal Life. What kind of existence was capable of nailing a demon god to death here? It was unimaginable. Look, two of the demon god's arms are gone. Lin Feng pointed at the demon god. The three-headed, six-armed demon god only had 4 arms left. Hiss! Long Yushi looked over and sucked in a breath of cold air as she said, "It looks like it was forcefully torn off by someone." Lin Feng felt his scalp go numb. This was a demonic god, and yet, both of his arms were torn off by someone. One could only imagine how tragic the scene was at that time. In its chest, there's a bloody hole. Lin Feng pointed at the demon god's left chest. He and Long Yushi entered the ninth palace and walked towards the three-headed, six-armed demon god. When they got closer, they saw that the demon god's heart had been dug out. Oh my god! Who did this? Even his heart was dug out. Lin Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. This demon god had died too tragically. This spear is terrifying. Even after countless years, it hasn't rusted at all. Long Yushi said, very surprised. The war spear emitted a cold aura and was stained with the blood of the demon god. The blood of the demon god would never dry up. No one knew how many years had passed, but the demonic god's blood was still so alluring. Lin Feng nodded and replied, "Indeed. It's a supreme treasure that can pierce through a demon god's body. It's definitely not something that an ordinary weapon can do." Long Yushi walked over, wanting to pull out the battle spear. Dong, dong, dong. All of a sudden, a series of strange noises resounded in the ninth hall. Lin Feng and Long Yushi both felt a sharp pain in their hearts. Their expressions were extremely pained. This sound was like the sound of a beating heart. Lin Feng felt as though his heart was about to split open. It's coming from the demon god's body. He clearly doesn't have a heart, so why is there still the sound of a beating heart? Lin Feng couldn't understand, and he shouted in horror, "Let's go!" We have to leave this place quickly. He pressed his chest, feeling as though his heart was about to burst at any moment. He didn't dare to stay in this place for another minute. Long Yushi was the same. Her face was deathly pale. Lin Feng and Long Yushi quickly left the 9th palace and arrived at the 10th palace. Their hearts felt like they were going to explode. Lin Feng let out a long breath, looked at Long Yushi, and asked, "How do you feel?" Long Yushi's face was still very pale, but it was gradually recovering. She said with lingering fear, "I'm already much better." She then recalled the terrifying events that had happened in the 9th hall, and her face was filled with shock. She said, "Why is this happening? That demon god is clearly dead. He was nailed to the wall, and his heart was dug out. Why is there still the sound of a beating heart?" This was also what Lin Feng was puzzled about. He said, "I don't understand. Perhaps there's a reason that we don't know about." The two of them didn't stop. They continued deeper, and after passing through the 18th hall, they arrived at a long corridor. The two of them walked along the corridor. Suddenly, a skeleton appeared in front of them. Lin Feng and Long Yushi quickly walked over. It was a silver skeleton. It wasn't human, and it had a pair of wings. What kind of race is this? Lin Feng frowned slightly. Long Yushi shook her head. She had never seen such a race before. They continued to walk deeper into the corridor, and after a few steps, they found another skeleton. This was a human skeleton, but this skeleton was actually golden. The skeleton of a human cultivator actually turned golden. Just how powerful was that human cultivator? How strong was he to be able to cultivate his skeleton into a golden color? Lin Feng was shocked. The owner of this skeleton was definitely a peerless cultivator. Long Yushi continued, "Even the current sacred leader of an ancient holy land and the human emperor of an ancient dynasty can't cultivate his skeleton into a golden color. This person's strength was unimaginable when he was alive." There are words here as well. Lin Feng was shocked. These words had been written with blood, but they weren't written in the current era. These are godly words. Long Yushi was shocked. Long Yushi's background was definitely extraordinary. She was able to recognize these ancient words. Lin Feng had learned the long-lost godly words from the fire Qilin, and he read them aloud. Eternal hatred. Lin Feng was shocked. What had happened here all those years ago? It actually made this powerful existence write down the words eternal hatred before he died. It was hard to imagine what kind of hatred he must have accumulated in his heart for him to write these words. For such a powerful existence to die here, something must have happened that no one else knows about. Long Yushi frowned slightly. She said, "Let's see if we can find any information about this person." Lin Feng saw a storage ring, but his divine sense couldn't penetrate it. He shook his head and said, "It's been too long. Time has destroyed the storage ring." Lin Feng stood up and continued walking with Long Yushi. Along the way, they discovered more than 10 corpses. They were all extremely strong cultivators, and it was obvious from their skeletons that only the strongest cultivators had changed their skeletons. Some of them were golden, some were jade-colored, and some were of other colors. Now, so many strong cultivators had died here. Lin Feng didn't know what had attracted so many strong cultivators to this place, but they were all buried here. Chapter 310. The corpses of powerful cultivators littered the ground, telling of the tragedy of the past. Every single one of them had been a peerless cultivator, yet they had all died here. It was a sad sight to behold. Such a powerful figure. Does he want to pursue immortality? Did they end up being trapped here and die? Long Yushi voiced her thoughts. Lin Feng thought about it, and felt that it was indeed possible. This place was called the Eternal Temple. Perhaps the secret to eternal life really was hidden here. Who didn't want to live forever? But who could be immortal? Was the secret to eternal life in the depths of the Eternal Temple? Lin Feng looked at the dark corridor. He had a feeling that there was a shocking secret hidden in the depths of the Eternal Temple. He and Long Yushi didn't stop. They continued walking. Roar! Roar! The Cerberus let out a low growl. Its expression was very flustered. Lin Feng and Long Yushi frowned and stopped. The hellhound was psychic. It could sense danger that Lin Feng and Long Yushi couldn't. Lin Feng and Long Yushi knew this very well. Thus, Lin Feng and Long Yushi knew that things weren't as simple as they'd seemed when they saw the hellhound become so agitated. There was probably a great danger hidden in the depths of the temple. Long Yushi said, "I've never been wrong about Blackie's instincts." Lin Feng smiled bitterly. "Do you think there's a way back for us?" Long Yushi nodded. It was indeed as Lin Feng had said. There was no way back for them. If they retreated, they wouldn't be able to leave the Eternal Temple. Perhaps they would end up like the dead cultivators here and become skeletons. Only by moving forward would they have a chance at survival. Lin Feng and Long Yushi became resolute. They continued to head deeper in, discovering several skeletons one after another. They were all supreme beings who had fallen here in the past. Finally, they entered a large hall. This hall was divided into an inner hall and an outer hall. There were dozens of skeletons in the outer hall. These skeletons were also of different colors: gold, silver, jade. They were all peerless cultivators. Kill! Suddenly, a low shout came from the main hall. Lin Feng only felt the scene before his eyes changing. It was as if he had traversed through the river of time and arrived at that turbulent and murderous era. Endless black fog shrouded the great hall. Numerous experts rushed into the black fog. Their roars shook the heavens, as if they were fighting against some existences. Lin Feng hugged his head and screamed miserably. He was greatly affected and felt that his divine soul was about to shatter. This was the inextinguishable killing intent in the palace, and it was attacking Lin Feng's soul. At that moment, Lin Feng felt as if his soul no longer belonged to him. It was as if it had been directly shattered. "No!" Lin Feng roared as he circulated the archaic dragonesque elephant art to resist the terrifying killing intent that flooded into his mind. Roar! The shadow of the immemorial dragonesque elephant appeared, stepping on the sky with a river of stars above its head. With a loud roar, the endless killing intent was dispersed. Lin Feng returned to reality. He broke out in cold sweat. It was really too dangerous just now. He was brought into an illusory world by the killing intent in the palace. In that illusory world, his divine soul was almost destroyed. If his divine soul was destroyed in that illusory world, his physical body would have died as well. "No, no!" Long Yushi screamed in horror. She hugged her head and seemed to be in great pain. The Cerberus let out a low growl, trying to wake Long Yushi up, but it failed. Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. Long Yushi could not escape from that illusory world. Lin Feng planned to take Long Yushi away from this palace, but at that moment, Long Yushi stopped screaming. She opened her eyes and panted heavily. She still had a lingering fear. Long Yushi had obviously overcome the killing intent. Lin Feng was secretly shocked. He had relied on the archaic dragonesque elephant art to overcome the killing intent. Long Yushi had also successfully overcome it. Obviously, she had also cultivated an extremely powerful technique. Of course, Lin Feng would not pursue the matter. "It's the undying murderous intent here that's affecting us. The dead are too strong. Even after so many years, their murderous intent is still there. Even after the killing intent has been extinguished," Long Yushi said with a pale face. Lin Feng nodded. "Look, these skeletons are different from the ones outside. Many of them contain an incredible amount of strength. They've been dead for so many years, but their strength hasn't dispersed. It's hard to imagine how strong they were when they were alive." Long Yushi nodded. She was also shocked. These people were really too strong. It was just that it was difficult to confirm their identities. She did not know who they were, but so many Supremes had died. Lin Feng inspected them. Most of them did not have any identification marks, but when he checked a jade-colored skeleton, he found a jade pendant. "Hey, come and see." Lin Feng picked up the jade pendant. Long Yushi hurried over. The word Li was written on the front, and Taixian was written on the back. 2 words. Li Taixian. How could it be him? Long Yushi said in disbelief. "Who's Li Taixian?" Lin Feng looked at Long Yushi suspiciously. He had not thought that Long Yushi would have heard of this Li Taixian. It was really unexpected. Long Yushi said, "He's a person from the ancient times. He was a peerless expert from hundreds of thousands of years ago. He was known as the Sword Immortal. Rumor has it that he broke through the shackles of the divine path and left this ancient world. He went to the legendary Undying World. Who would have thought that he would die here? Undying World? Lin Feng looked at Long Yushi in shock. This was the first time he had heard of this name. Undying. It represented too many meanings, and Lin Feng instantly thought of many things. Long Yushi said, "Rumor has it that above the divine path is an ethereal realm. Once you enter that realm, you will be able to sense a mysterious world that transcends the heavens. That world is called the Undying World. Rumor has it that those who ascend to the Undying World will be immortal. I know about immortality, but I never thought that there would really be legends about immortality. Immortality is eternal life. Is there really a realm above the divine path? Is there really such a thing as the Undying World?" Lin Feng murmured in disbelief. He had thought that the ancient divine path was the peak of power in the world, and that immortality was just a legend. Long Yushi said, "The Undying World has always been rumored among the top forces, but no one knows if it's true or not. However, Li Taixian was believed by countless people to have entered the Undying World. It turns out that this was just a rumor. Li Taixian died here, and there's no way to prove that the Undying World really exists." Lin Feng nodded. He looked at the inner hall and said, "Let's go in and take a look." Long Yushi nodded and entered the inner hall with Lin Feng. When they entered, they felt their scalps go numb. As for the Cerberus, all the hair on its body stood on end, and its 6 eyes stared at the hall in horror. Chapter 311. Lin Feng felt like he was about to suffocate. What he saw was unbelievable. A white-robed man was sitting cross-legged in the middle of the hall. His body was surrounded by divine light, and the energy of the world was gathering into his body. He seemed to be cultivating. Outside, corpses of powerhouses were everywhere. Countless peerless powerhouses had been buried here. In the inner hall, there was a valiant man sitting cross-legged. Lin Feng and Long Yushi instantly thought of a possibility. Could it be that all the powerhouses outside had been killed by this man? Lin Feng and Long Yushi felt like they were about to suffocate. They found it difficult to breathe. It was as if they were afraid of waking up this peerless powerhouse who had not died for tens of thousands of years. If they woke this person up, would he also kill the two of them like he did to those experts outside? It was definitely possible. Lin Feng and Long Yushi retreated outside. They were unwilling to stay here any longer. This place made them feel very uneasy. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt that something was amiss. He said, "Yushi, have you noticed that this, senior, seems a little off?" Long Yushi also felt that something was off. She said, "He doesn't seem to be alive." Although the man was surrounded by divine light, as if he had come back to life, Lin Feng and Long Yushi still found something unusual about him. He didn't seem to have any life force. Living people had life force. Dead people had death energy lingering around them. Although they didn't sense any death energy from this man, there was indeed no life force. This shouldn't be a living person. Perhaps we've made a mistake. This mysterious man might have come in at the same time as those dead cultivators outside. It's just that his cultivation is too powerful. Even after so many years, his body still hasn't been destroyed. Lin Feng said, "This was truly too unbelievable. Even someone as powerful as Li Taixian had been reduced to a skeleton, but this valiant man's body was still intact. Just how powerful was his cultivation to be able to accomplish this?" Lin Feng and Long Yushi were indeed moved. Long Yushi reached out to touch the valiant man. Buzz! Suddenly, an astonishing energy fluctuation emanated from the valiant man's body. Following that valiant man's body actually turned into a rainbow and disappeared into the air. Disappeared? Long Yushi was shocked. Lin Feng said, "Disperse." Rumor has it that only the most powerful people would have their bodies turn into rainbows and disperse after their deaths. This was so that their bodies wouldn't be desecrated by others. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Long Yushi nodded. He did not know the identity of this valiant man, but he had passed away here. Now, he had turned into a rainbow and dispersed, which made people sigh with emotion. Even powerful existences like them could not escape the fate of death. There are words here. Long Yushi pointed to the ground. Lin Feng looked over. Who in the world can live forever? In the end, it was all for naught. Seeing these words, Lin Feng and Long Yushi's expressions suddenly shook. Did this expert enter the shrine of eternal life to pursue the secret of eternal life? Asking the people of the world who could live forever. Was he questioning the heavens? In the end, it was all for naught. How much sadness and unwillingness had he expressed? After cultivating bitterly for countless years, in the end, he actually ended up like this. Lin Feng seemed to feel the helplessness and sorrow of this peerless expert. The road of cultivation was long. Who knew where the end was? Pursuing the path of longevity, searching for the secret of eternal life, in the end, was just a dream. Everything was just for naught. Lin Feng, look inside, Long Yushi said, pointing to a room in the depths. Lin Feng came back to his senses and walked in with Long Yushi. This place was filled with an incomparably terrifying distorting power, making it difficult to get close to this room. Lin Feng and Long Yushi walked outside the room and looked into the depths. They saw two distorted space-time doors. The distorted space-time door on the left was dark. It was unknown where it connected to, but the word death was written in the blood of a fiend god. The blood of a fiend god would never dry up, and it emitted a demonic light and power that made people feel suffocated. Another distorted space-time door was surrounded by a golden light. On the door, the word life was written in a dazzling golden light. This is the door of life and death, Long Yushi said. The door of life and death in the art of divination. This might be the way out. The door of life and death? Lin Feng looked at Long Yushi suspiciously. He had never come into contact with these things. After all, he was from a small organization, and there were many things that he had never heard of. Long Yushi said, the door of life and death connects life and death. The door of life is the way to life, and the door of death is filled with danger. Looking at the door of life and the door of death, Lin Feng frowned slightly and said, something doesn't feel right. It was a very strange feeling. Whether it was the door of life or the door of death, both gave Lin Feng a very strange feeling. I've only heard of the door of life and death, but I've never seen it, Long Yushi said. Lin Feng said, wait here for a moment. I'll go and take a look at the door of life and death. He walked towards the door of the room. Boom. A terrifying strength moved towards Lin Feng. It felt as if an ancient mountain was pressing down on his body. The gate of life and death prevented people from getting close to him. Lin Feng gritted his teeth and walked towards the door with great difficulty. Finally, he entered the room and looked at the door of life. He walked towards it. The pressure in the room was even more terrifying. Lin Feng could feel his bones crackling, and his body was about to be crushed into a pulp. If it had been someone else, they might not have been able to withstand it, but Lin Feng's body was strong enough. At the same time, he used the ancient dragonesque elephant technique to resist the terrifying pressure. Lin Feng finally arrived at the door of life. But at that moment, something terrifying happened. Blood suddenly flowed out of the resplendent golden life character. The originally golden life gate suddenly became ghostly. An endless black fog filled the air. It was like a gate to hell that led to the netherworld. On the door, there were 7 bloody words, kill. A low and hoarse voice resounded in Lin Feng's mind. Kill, 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 kill. Kill the heavens. Kill the earth. Kill the gods. Kill the immortals. Kill the ancient devils. Kill the Buddhas. Kill all living things. The 7 deadly sounds were resonating in Lin Feng's brain. In a flash, Lin Feng had the feeling that he was surrounded by an endless amount of darkness. Pooh! It seemed like an invisible and intangible strength was attacking Lin Feng's body. Cracks appeared all over his body. His body looked like a piece of porcelain that was about to break apart. Lin Feng looked at his body, which had been split open, and shouted in terror. Chapter 312. How could this be? Shouted Long Yushi, panic-stricken. She quickly ran into the room and tried to pull Lin Feng out of the room. Bang! A terrifying aura swept out from the room and slammed into Long Yushi's body, sending him flying. Barf! Long Yushi immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Her aura weakened. The 7 killing sound. It lingered in his ears. It was unknown who had shouted the sound of 7 kills. It was too terrifying. The 7 killing sound could kill heaven, earth, gods, immortals, demons, Buddhas, and all living things. As long as it was within the range of the 7 kills, no one was spared. Lin Feng didn't know if the experts who had entered this place in the past had experienced the same thing. But now, he was experiencing all of this. He watched helplessly as his body cracked open bit by bit and blood flowed out of his body. I can't accept this, Lin Feng struggled to speak. He didn't want to die here, nor was he willing to die here. He madly circulated the Archean dragonesque elephant art. But this time, the Archean dragonesque elephant art was ineffective. The Archean dragonesque elephant art couldn't resist the 7 killing sound of the Gate of Life. It was too terrifying. The Archean dragonesque elephant art was known as the #1 Archean forbidden divine art, but it couldn't resist the 7 killing sound. In this world, what else could break the 7 killing sound? Am I really going to die here? Lin Feng struggled to raise his hand. His arm was cracked open like his body. Lin Feng had the feeling that his body was going to break at any moment, like a piece of porcelain, in a flash. It would crack into pieces. The aura of death enveloped Lin Feng's body. He even felt that his consciousness was slowly fading away. Buzz. At this critical moment, the demonic orb in Lin Feng's body trembled slightly, and a mysterious voice came from it. The Eternal Temple. It's the Eternal Temple. This temple has appeared again after disappearing for countless years. In the past, even I lost half my life here. How did this kid get in? No, I have to continue hiding in the demonic orb. I can't let him die so quickly. Whoosh! A beam of demonic light shot out from the mysterious demon bead and rushed into the space-time gate. Not long after, a speck of light appeared in the pitch-black world. When that light appeared, Lin Feng felt that the power of the 7 kills was weakening. It was as if a voice was summoning him to enter the door of 7 murders. Lin Feng roared as he strode in. Lin Feng, don't go in. Long Yushi cried out in horror, but Lin Feng had already rushed in. She gritted her teeth, hugged the Cerberus, and rushed into the door of 7 kills. This was a world of darkness, and there was only that ball of light. Is that a lamp? Long Yushi said in surprise. Lin Feng nodded. It was a lamp that had appeared in the darkness. In the endless darkness, only this lamp had a trace of light. It seemed to be guiding Lin Feng and Long Yushi forward. You have crossed the ancient times and condensed the heaven, earth, black, and yellow. Even if you have escaped the 6 paths of reincarnation, it is difficult to seek immortality. A deep voice came from the depths of this world, but it also seemed to come from the ancient lamp. Lin Feng and Long Yushi were shocked. What kind of existence had made that voice? That boundless and majestic voice seemed to let Lin Feng see the greatness and glory of the ancient times. He seemed to see the 6 paths of reincarnation between the heavens and the earth, controlling the life and death of countless people. Everyone said that immortality was good, but how many people could live forever? Was the secret of immortality really hidden here? Lin Feng's heart was filled with endless shock. Then, an extremely cold aura swept over. That aura seemed to be emitted from the netherworld, and it enveloped Lin Feng, Long Yushi, and the Cerberus. Roar. The Cerberus was a very sensitive existence. At that moment, it felt a great danger. It let out a frightened cry. Lin Feng and Long Yushi felt as if their bodies were unable to move. It was as if there was a terrifying existence hidden in the darkness, and it wanted to devour them. It was really too terrifying. Lin Feng felt as if his soul was trembling. The sky lantern shines on the 9 provinces, the 6 paths of reincarnation revolves, the netherworld collapses. With my blood, I burn this sky red. My footsteps, I walk through the mountains and rivers, I search the heavens, just to smell the fragrance of the 9 provinces' soil. Suddenly, a person appeared in front of them. He held the mysterious ancient lamp in his hand. He walked forward. His voice was boundless and sorrowful. When that mysterious person appeared, the cold aura around them quickly dispersed. Lin Feng and Long Yushi could finally move again. Who is that? Is there really someone alive here? Long Yushi cried out in alarm. Senior, Lin Feng shouted. But the mysterious person did not respond. He held the ancient lamp and walked deeper into the darkness. His back was very lonely and desolate. Lin Feng suddenly felt a sense of eternal loneliness. Was that a person who had lost himself? Was he holding an ancient lamp, hoping to find his homeland and find his past self? He's not human. Long Yushi's voice trembled slightly. Lin Feng said, "Let's follow him." In this world of darkness, Lin Feng and Long Yushi followed the mysterious person for an unknown period of time. Eventually, the mysterious person disappeared in a distorted space, and the ancient lamp rushed into the mysterious world. "Let's go in," Lin Feng said. He and Long Yushi quickly rushed over. They entered the distorted space and time. Lin Feng had the impression the sky and the earth were spinning. He was in a tunnel of space and time. He was thrown outside. What's that? Lin Feng looked at the top of the space-time tunnel. It was a milky white gas that was hanging down. The milky white gas exuded an unimaginably ancient aura, as if it wanted to pull Lin Feng back to the beginning of the world. Long Yushi exclaimed, "It's the Chaos Origin Aura. Heavens, there's still Chaos Origin Aura here." Lin Feng was moved. The beginning of the world. The chaos split apart, evolving the worlds and creating the 6 paths of reincarnation. The Chaos Origin Aura had long disappeared during the Chaos Era, but there was still some here. Could this ancient world have been formed during the beginning of the world? How many great eras ago was this? Whoosh! Lin Feng used his golden wings and rushed toward the Chaos Origin Aura. This was a peerless treasure, an unimaginable treasure. Danger! Long Yushi exclaimed. In the next moment, she was flung away by the space-time power. Lin Feng flew against the space-time power and rushed toward the Chaos Origin Aura. This was an ancient origin aura that existed before the beginning of the world. It was something that even the ancient saint emperors could not find. Lin Feng suffered a huge blow. There were dozens of bloody holes on his body. His flesh was torn apart, and he looked like he was about to explode. He had suffered unprecedented injuries after peaking at the primal chaos ancestral chi, which was even more severe than when he faced the Gate of 7 Kills. Archean Dragonesque Elephant. Lin Feng roared. He activated the Archean Dragonesque Elephant skill, and the Archean Dragonesque Elephant's shadow condensed and merged with Lin Feng. His body, which was about to explode, was protected by the Archean Dragonesque Elephant. Crack! Lin Feng grabbed a handful of the Chaos Origin Aura and quickly absorbed it into his dantian. In the next moment, a violent force swept over, as if to kill this ant who dared to spy on the Chaos Origin Aura. Before the force could hit Lin Feng, just a ripple of vibration caused him to faint. One could imagine that when the attack came, Lin Feng would instantly be blown into a bloody mist. This lunatic! An exasperated curse came from the demonic bead. "I have such a weak body, and I still have to worry about the safety of a lunatic." The voice was depressed and even exasperated. His aura was indeed much weaker than when Lin Feng faced the Gate of 7 Kills. This was because every time he moved, it consumed a lot of energy. A demonic light flew out from the demonic bead and enveloped Lin Feng. The terrifying attack slammed into Lin Feng and swept him away. In the next moment, Lin Feng was flung out of the space-time tunnel by the space-time power. Chapter 313. Lin Feng opened his eyes and saw a sky full of stars. Not far away, there was a volcano that emitted waves of heat. Where am I? Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and gazed at the sky. He looked around. He didn't understand. Very quickly, he came back to his senses and remembered what had happened in the Eternal Life Shrine. Lin Feng quickly sat up and said happily, "I'm out. I don't know where Long Yushi went. Forget about her. She'll be fine." Lin Feng felt pain all over his body. He checked his condition and smiled wryly. His physical injuries were quite serious, but fortunately, they were all external injuries. Let's find a place to heal first. Lin Feng found a hidden cave and sealed it with a spiritual formation. He sat down cross-legged and circulated the archaic dragon-esque elephant incantation to heal his injuries. After an hour, Lin Feng was fully recovered. Lin Feng's godly awareness entered his dantian and saw the primal chaos origin chi floating in his dantian. He was overjoyed. The primal chaos origin chi. The archaic divine emperor had searched all over the universe for primal chaos origin chi, but it had been very difficult to find it. Now, he had coincidentally found the primal chaos ancestral chi in the Gate of 7 Kills of the Eternal Life Temple. This was really a blessing in disguise. Primal chaos origin chi can be used to forge supreme treasures. It's the best material for forging a natal treasure. Lin Feng thought for a moment. He wanted to forge his own natal treasure. Natal treasures were different from ordinary treasures. Anyone could forge a natal treasure. After it was forged, it needed to be nourished with a soul. The strength of a natal treasure would increase with the cultivation level of a cultivator. However, in order to forge a life-bound magic treasure, one would generally need to be at the yin-yang stage. Cultivators below the yin-yang stage simply did not have enough soul power to forge a life-bound magic treasure. If they did not persist, they would only end up destroying the precious materials. Lin Feng originally couldn't forge a natal treasure, but Lin Feng's soul strength had increased to the 5th layer of the yin-yang boundary. Therefore, although he was still a general, he was qualified to forge a natal treasure. A natal treasure. Apart from the fact that it would increase with the cultivation level of its owner, there was another important point. Only the owner could use a natal treasure. If others wanted to activate it, they would have to kill the owner of this life source magic treasure and then refine it before they could activate it. It wasn't like other treasures that could be used as long as they were refined. Lin Feng sat down cross-legged. With a thought, the primal chaos origin chi flew out. The primal chaos chi floated around Lin Feng. Lin Feng frowned and wondered what kind of weapon he should make with the primal chaos chi. Forge it into a sword? He already had a supreme treasure like the black dragon sword. Forge it into a cauldron? He was an alchemist. In the future, he would definitely work hard to find the legendary 108 cauldrons. Only one would be enough. When the time came, his natal treasure would also be a cauldron. Suddenly, Lin Feng thought of the ancient lamp that appeared in the mysterious space of the Shrine of Eternal Life. In the endless darkness, the ancient lamp illuminated the path forward. He followed the ancient lamp and walked out of the endless darkness. The path of cultivation was full of thorns. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. He might as well forge his natal treasure into an ancient lamp. On the path of cultivation that was filled with countless dangers, darkness, and unknowns, it would illuminate the path forward for him. It would lead him all the way until he became a deity that stood at the peak of cultivation. He would be worshipped by the world and receive endless incense. Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. The primal chaos ancient lamp. He planned to forge his natal treasure into the primal chaos ancient lamp. Powerful soul strength surged into the primal chaos origin chi. Lin Feng sensed the ancient aura contained in the primal chaos origin chi. This was the accumulation of history and time. After countless years, the primal chaos origin chi hadn't dissipated, which was enough to prove how terrifying it was. It was a top-grade immortal material. The primeval sage emperor wanted to find it, but he couldn't find it even after searching all the heavens. One could imagine how terrifying a supreme, immortal treasure forged with the primal chaos origin chi would be. Lin Feng's consciousness controlled the primal chaos origin chi to transform into the ancient lamp. Time slowly passed. Waves of astonishing aura came from the cave. Dong! A divine sound rang out. It was especially pleasant, as if it resonated with the heavenly Tao. The sound of the heavenly Tao. In the forest, the cultivators who heard this sound were astonished. Could it be the birth of an ancient treasure? Or the opening of an ancient cultivator's cave? The cultivators exclaimed. They knew very well why the sound of the heavenly Tao was resounding. Many people were moved and quickly scattered to search for the treasure. The sound of the heavenly Tao resounded through the void. A low voice came from the primal chaos origin chi. The sky lanterns illuminate, the 9 provinces crack, the mountains and rivers shatter. Search for the homeland. The 1809 province lanterns suppressed the myriad world calamity. Lin Feng was shocked. He heard the voice in the mysterious space of the eternal temple. Was it the voice of the mysterious cultivator? The 9 province lanterns? Could the ancient lamp in the mysterious space be called the 9 province lanterns? The 9 provinces were the homeland of the mysterious cultivator, but where was it? Suddenly, Lin Feng had the impression that he was looking at a broken world. Someone flew over and saw the shattered mountains and rivers, howling in grief. The mountains and rivers are shattered, the heavenly Tao is destroyed, and the worlds are doomed. We are willing to sacrifice our blood to the 9 province lanterns to protect the 9 province great world that gave birth to us and raised us. Everyone was in a daze. Lin Feng saw the strong cultivators burning fiercely and rushing into the 1809 province lanterns. The 1809 prefecture's lanterns fell into the depths of the shattered world. The world that was falling apart stopped, no longer heading towards destruction. Countless terrified and despairing creatures also survived. They prayed to the heavens, but they didn't know that it was a group of experts who had sacrificed themselves. The 9 province lanterns, the 9 province great world. What am I seeing? Murmured Lin Feng. He didn't know where the 9 province great world was, but he knew that the primal chaos origin chi was related to it. I use my godly fire to light the primal chaos ancient lamp. Lin Feng stood up and took out his heavenly fire. A cluster of flames flew out. The cluster of flames flew into the wick, and the primal chaos ancient lamp was ignited. The instant the primal chaos ancient lamp was ignited, endless immortal light soared into the sky. Flowers fell from the sky, golden lotuses bloomed on the ground, and the sound of the great Tao resounded through the 9 heavens. Amidst the immortal light, the image of an ancient lamp appeared. The godly fire burned in the lamp, and it seemed to drive away the darkness that had existed since ancient times. Heavens, a peerless divine weapon has appeared. People from all directions looked over, including the strong cultivators of the ancient sacred lands. Swoosh! Strong cultivators soared into the sky and flew towards the primal chaos ancient lamp that Lin Feng was forging. Chapter 314. It's over there. Many cultivators flew over quickly. They were all top cultivators. They had been discussing how to slay the dragon, but now that they saw a supreme treasure, they quickly flew over. However, by the time they arrived, the place was already empty. Lin Feng had already left. What kind of treasure is that? Such an ancient chi. Some cultivators sensed the ancient chi in the primal chaos ancestral chi. It was mysterious and noble. But now, there was no trace of the treasure. Everyone was annoyed that they had come too late. Let's go and find it. One cultivator after another flew into the distance, looking for the primal chaos ancient lamp. At the top of a mountain a dozen miles away, Lin Feng sighed. Fortunately, he had left in time. Otherwise, it would have been troublesome if he had been surrounded by those people. Fortunately, everything was going smoothly. Actually, Lin Feng hadn't thought that the primal chaos ancient lamp would cause such a big commotion. Lin Feng finally realized how extraordinary the primal chaos ancient lamp was. It was a primal chaos treasure. Even though it had just been forged, it had resonated with the great Tao. One could imagine that if Lin Feng's cultivation increased in the future, the primal chaos ancient lamp would grow with him. In the future, it would become a terrifying weapon. Fire Dragon Ridge became lively. Many people were talking about that mysterious ancient treasure. Many cultivators continued searching, hoping to find some clues. After searching for a while, the cultivators didn't find any trace of the mysterious ancient treasure, so they gave up and went back into the depths of Fire Dragon Ridge. Lin Feng searched many places, but he couldn't find the second bluestone talisman. Therefore, he decided to give up. He simply went into the depths of Fire Dragon Ridge and waited for those important people to slay the dragon. He had never seen such a thing before. Slaying a dragon had always been a story in legends. Many cultivators had come to the depths of Fire Dragon Ridge. Not only were there disciples of the ancient Holy Lands, but there were also cultivators from the celestial dynasties, sects, clans, and independent cultivators. Most of these people were here to watch the show. The ones who were truly slaughtering the dragons were the three ancient sacred lands. Lin Feng saw Ziyao, Fairy Mengyao, and the others, but since they were with their sect members, Lin Feng did not disturb them. He also saw Genie Qin. Lin Feng looked at Qin Mubai and Qin Mubai with a faint look in his eyes. Back then, Lin Feng suspected that Zi Zhao's tragic death might have something to do with them. Boundless holy man, benefactor, greetings. Taoist Wuliang walked over and flicked his horsetail whisk. So it's the Taoist priest. I didn't expect the Taoist priest to come here to watch the show, Lin Feng said enthusiastically when he saw Taoist Wuliang. The heaven-swallowing jar was a heaven-defying treasure, and he had spent 50,000 gold coins to buy it from Taoist Wuliang's stall. Taoist Wuliang said, "This poor Taoist observes the sky at night. I've discovered that my little friend is in danger. It won't be easy to resolve this bloody disaster." Lin Feng rolled his eyes. This damn Taoist priest was cursing him, wasn't he? Lin Feng waved his fist and said, "I don't know if I'm in danger, but if you continue to spread lies in front of me, I know that you will be in danger." Taoist Wuliang shrunk back in fear and said, "Benefactor, please don't be angry. This poor Taoist is telling the truth." Lin Feng frowned slightly. He felt that Taoist Wuliang was quite sinister. He asked, "What's the situation? Tell me about it. If it's good, I won't mistreat you." "The white tiger of the West is in charge of killing. Benefactor, you have the color of a white tiger on your face, and there's a faint black aura lingering around the cloud hall. It's clear that you're in danger. However, Benefactor, you don't have to be afraid. This poor Taoist has a way to help you resolve it." Taoist Wuliang said calmly, "Please enlighten me." Lin Feng asked. Taoist Wuliang stretched out his right hand and rubbed it. Lin Feng understood and took out a crystal card. "This is a gold card with a face value of 10 million gold coins. Please accept it." Taoist Wuliang smiled and said, "Benefactor, you misunderstand this poor Taoist. This poor Taoist is not interested in worldly items." Lin Feng was speechless. If this poor Taoist Wuliang was not interested in worldly items, then why had he snuck into the Cloud and Rain Pavilion to sell junk? How could a person be so shameless? "Then what are you interested in?" Lin Feng asked. Cough, cough. "A few days ago, this poor Taoist had a treasure that I accidentally sold to you. If you return it to this poor Taoist, Taoist Wuliang began to speak frankly. Before Taoist Wuliang could finish, Lin Feng turned around and left. "Why don't you go and die if you want to steal my heaven-devouring jar?" Lin Feng naturally would not give the heaven-devouring jar to Taoist Wuliang. Taoist Wuliang chased after him and said, "Benefactor, don't you want to resolve this bloody calamity?" Bang! Lin Feng replied to the Taoist priest by punching him. The Taoist priest was blown away. "Bloody calamity, my ass." Boom! In the distance, a powerful aura filled the sky as an old man walked over. The old man had the demeanor of a transcendent being. His arrival caused many people to cry out in alarm. He was an elder of the Purple Light Holy Land, Yuan Xiu. Soon after, another strong cultivator flew over. She was a beautiful woman wearing a snow-white dress that tightly wrapped around her perfect figure. Her exquisite figure matched her peerless beauty. She was the best of the best. This woman was Hua Hongyan from the Heaven Lake Holy Land, an elder of the Heaven Lake Holy Land. "Both of you are here." A third strong cultivator arrived. He was a middle-aged man with a tall and sturdy figure. Zhang Sunfeng. He's the younger brother of the island of Peng Lai. Someone exclaimed. This person's identity was not simple. He was the younger brother of the island of Peng Lai. His battle prowess was incredible. The strong cultivators of the three ancient holy lands had arrived to slay the dragon. Many people had come to watch the battle. "Let's do it. The longer we delay, the more disadvantageous it will be for us," Elder Yuan Qi of the Purple Light Holy Land said. "All right." Hua Hongyan and Zhang Sunfeng had no objections. Boom! The three strong cultivators flew towards the depths of the volcano. Everyone looked towards the depths of the volcano nervously. Were they finally going to slay the dragon? Roar! Not long after the three strong cultivators flew into the depths of the volcano, an angry dragon roar could be heard. Rumble! Then, the earth started to shake. The three strong cultivators soared into the sky from the depths of the volcano. Endless flames spread out from the volcano, turning the entire sky into a sea of fire. Then, a 1,000-meter-long red dragon soared into the sky from the depths of the volcano. That dragon had horns like a deer, a head like a cow, a mouth like a donkey, eyes like a shrimp, ears like an elephant, scales like a fish, belly like a snake, and feet like a phoenix. It looked majestic and majestic. It wasn't a dragon of the west. It was a 1,000-meter-long Eastern godly dragon. Heavens, an Eastern godly dragon. Countless people's expressions changed as they looked at the giant dragon in shock. The Eastern godly dragon was a divine beast on the same level as phoenixes and unicorns. Chapter 3:15. Flames burned the heavens and the earth as the fire dragon rushed out. Its huge body was like an undulating mountain ridge as it hovered in midair. Everyone was shocked. No one would have thought that the fire dragon here was actually an Eastern divine dragon. The Eastern divine dragon tribe was basically a water dragon tribe. They were born with the ability to summon clouds and summon rain. However, it was rare to hear of a fire Eastern divine dragon. Even the fire Chelan guessed that the dragon hidden in the depths of Flaming Dragon Ridge was likely a fire dragon of the west. However, even the fire Chelan was wrong. This was an Eastern divine dragon. The three experts used their magic power to protect themselves. The flames could not hurt them at all. After seeing that it was an Eastern divine dragon, they did not show any fear. Instead, they became even more excited. Among the Western Dragon tribe, other than the most powerful royal bloodline that could be compared to the Eastern Divine Dragon tribe, the rest of the Dragon tribe were too far apart. They were not even on the same level. The value of this fire dragon in front of them was too great. It was not something a Western Divine Dragon could compare to. I know. This must be the evolution of that legendary giant snake, a cultivator said. His words attracted the attention of many people. The evolution of a giant snake? Some people looked at the cultivator in confusion. Rumor has it that in the depths of the fiery Dragon Ridge, there is an ancient monster, the king of monsters, who commands all the monsters in the fiery Dragon Ridge. Someone once saw a giant snake in the depths of the fiery Dragon Ridge, so there is a rumor that the king of monsters in the depths of the fiery Dragon Ridge is a monster snake. Of course, this was thousands of years ago, but this rumor has always been passed down in the fiery Dragon Town. Now it seems that it should be true. It takes thousands of years to transform into a flood dragon, and tens of thousands of years to transform into a dragon, the cultivator said. Hiss. Many people sucked in a breath of cold air. No one would have thought that there was such a past. However, what the cultivator said was very possible. This was because the Eastern godly dragons were usually the ones who had mastered the water theurgy. However, this Eastern divine dragon in front of them had mastered fire superpowers. It was a fire dragon. It was difficult to explain why a fire Eastern divine dragon had appeared. What if this Eastern divine dragon was not an Eastern divine dragon but a fire giant snake? Evolving into the Eastern divine dragon step by step, this could be explained. Boom! Above the 9 heavens, a great battle erupted. The fire dragon unleashed its might and spewed out dragon breath that filled the sky, attacking the 3 powerhouses. The 3 great masters also made their moves. They were all great masters, and their strength was unimaginable. Fan Tao, who had surpassed the martial artists, was almost like a god. Yuan Ju waved his hand. Above the 9 heavens, divine light surged, followed by loud rumbling sounds. Stars fell one after another, bombarding the fire dragon. Hua Hongyin waved her hand, and countless petals fell from the sky. 1 flower, 1 world, 1 tree, 1 Bodhi. Every petal seemed to be a world of its own. The petals fell one after another, wanting to bury the fire dragon within. Zhang Sun Feng condensed beams of light of destruction and swept forward, attacking the fire dragon. Bang! The 4 terrifying existences fiercely clashed against each other. Heaven and earth were pierced through, and mountains were shaken to the point of collapsing. Many of the cultivators who were relatively close to the explosion were killed by the energy shockwaves that spread out from the explosion. Hurry up and leave this place. Many people shouted in fear. Who would dare to stay? It was too terrifying. It was like the end of the world. One figure after another flew into the distance in a wretched manner. A shockwave of energy flew towards the mountain where Lin Feng and the others were standing. Hurry up and leave. Everyone hurriedly dodged. Lin Feng and the others quickly left the mountain. A moment later, the entire mountain was crushed by the shockwave of energy. Heavens! That's too terrifying. Lin Feng and the others felt their scalps go numb. What kind of battle was that? Good fight. Amazing, said a familiar voice. Lin Feng looked over and saw Long Yushi. She was indeed fine and had recovered well. She was looking at the battle in the sky excitedly. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. Everybody else was running away in panic, but Lin Feng was shouting and cheering for his friends. Lin Feng didn't feel like paying attention to Long Yushi anymore. He continued moving into the distance, but at that moment, Lin Feng noticed that the blue stone talisman in his ring was emitting waves of energy. Even though the energy wasn't strong, it was definitely there. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The first bluestone talisman would only react when it sensed the second bluestone talisman. Now that the first bluestone talisman had reacted, did it mean that the second talisman was nearby? Lin Feng took out the first bluestone talisman. When Lin Feng took it out of his spirit ring, the waves became even stronger. It's in the depths, said Lin Feng, looking at the fire dragon's nest. Swish, swish. He spread his golden wings and flew towards the depths. Boom, boom, boom. In the sky, the battle was extremely intense. Rocks flew everywhere, and magical powers collided. Waves of energy fell from the sky. Lin Feng dodged the falling energy waves. He had seen how terrifying the energy waves were. Even though they were just the aftershocks of the 4 terrifying beast collisions, they were enough to turn a mountain into dust. It was obvious how powerful those attacks were. If he was hit, he would die without a doubt. Luckily, Lin Feng managed to reach the depths of the volcano. Below him was boiling lava. Lin Feng saw a cave. That should be the fire dragon's cave. The blue stone talisman's reaction became even stronger. Lin Feng rushed into the cave. Swish! Suddenly, everything in front of him became bright. He saw a mountain of treasures appear in the cave. There were gold coins, magic weapons, and so on. In the legends, it was recorded that the dragon race had a habit of collecting treasures. Now, it seemed that it was true. Lin Feng saw some magic weapons. Those magic weapons were emitting shocking waves of spiritual energy. They even surpassed the peak-level spirit weapons he had seen. This made Lin Feng gasp. Could these be the legendary treasured weapons? Just one of these treasures was enough to buy 10 ancient cities. And in the cave, there were at least 20 of them. When I find the blue stone talisman, I'll come and collect you. Lin Feng rushed into the depths of the cave. In a pair of gold coins, Lin Feng saw the second talisman. He was overjoyed. He rushed over and took the second talisman. This was not a place to stay for long. Lin Feng quickly flew outside to collect the priceless treasures. But as soon as he flew out of the cave, he was attacked. Someone was hiding in the dark and attacked Lin Feng. A cold light flashed and directly pierced towards Lin Feng's chest. He wanted to kill Lin Feng in the air. Chapter 316. Someone tried to sneak an attack on Lin Feng. Quick, accurate, ruthless. It was as if the attacker wanted to kill Lin Feng with a single blow. Facing this attack, Lin Feng reacted quickly. He quickly moved to the left, and the spear missed. Lin Feng kicked the spear, and the attacker was forced back. Lin Feng moved like a bolt of lightning, grabbed the cultivator's neck with both hands, and twisted. With a crack, the cultivator's neck was broken, and he died on the spot. Zhang Kuei has been killed. An angry shout came from not far away. Lin Feng looked over and saw that there were more than 10 cultivators who had entered the cave. They seemed to be in a group, and they had probably followed him in. These people were collecting the treasures here, and they obviously wanted to make a fortune. When they saw Lin Feng, they wanted to kill him. Get out of my way. Lin Feng looked indifferent. Brat, you killed our people, and you still dare to be so impudent? Today, I will cut you into 10,000 pieces. Immediately, a sturdy cultivator rushed over, holding a long saber and slashed at Lin Feng. Swish! Lin Feng's golden wings flapped slightly, and he disappeared without a trace. A moment later, he appeared behind the sturdy cultivator, holding the black dragon sword. With a stab, the sword pierced through the cultivator's chest, and the cultivator fell down, dead on the spot. The world of cultivators. It was full of intrigue and deception. Many times, if you didn't kill others, you would be killed by others. Lin Feng had seen through all of this. Since that was the case, then he would kill everyone who stood in his way. Damn it, attack! A middle-aged cultivator shouted coldly. More than 10 people rushed towards Lin Feng, all of them looking ferocious. Their eyes flashed with a bone-chilling light. Those people were holding all kinds of weapons and were surrounding Lin Feng. Since you want to die, then all of you will die here. Lin Feng looked indifferent. His golden wings flapped slightly. He was like a bolt of lightning, moving through the crowd. Lin Feng's speed was too fast. He was so fast that these people couldn't keep up with Lin Feng. Pooh, pooh, pooh. The sound of flesh being pierced could be heard. One cultivator after another was stabbed to death by Lin Feng's sword. Their corpses fell down and rolled over countless treasures. They were buried by the treasures in the depths of the mountain. One cultivator after another was killed by Lin Feng. The remaining leader was scared out of his wits and turned to run. "Young master, save me." The cultivator let out a terrified cry. At that moment, a silhouette came into the cave. When that person saw Lin Feng chasing the leader of the group, he shouted furiously, "How dare you!" This was a young man who looked to be in his 20s. He was handsome and confident, and he held a black iron spear in his hand. Lin Feng said coldly, "Why wouldn't I dare?" As soon as he finished speaking, he caught up to the leader and slashed at him. Pooh! The leader's head flew into the sky, and the headless corpse fell to the ground. The leader had also been killed by Lin Feng. "Brat, you dare to kill my men? You're courting death." The young man shouted angrily, leaping forward and stabbing his black iron spear at Lin Feng. Lin Feng sneered, "You allowed these people to kill me, but I can't kill them? If I wasn't strong enough, I would have already become a cold corpse. These people were killed. They only have themselves to blame." "I will kill you to vent my anger," Zhang Sun Wuji said coldly. As the saying went, before beating a dog, one had to look at its master first. Moreover, Lin Feng had killed more than 10 of his subordinates. Zhang Sun Wuji's spear techniques were outstanding, and with a single stab, 13 spear images appeared, all of them aimed at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was shocked. This person's spear techniques were truly powerful, and he slashed at them with his sword. Swish! Suddenly, the 13 spear images merged into one, and Lin Feng's sword missed. Zhang Sun Wuji's spear stabbed at Lin Feng's chest. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly, and he quickly moved to the right, narrowly avoiding Zhang Sun Wuji's attack. Zhang Sun Wuji held his spear with one hand, and suddenly pulled it back. The spear was like a whip, ruthlessly lashing at Lin Feng's body, sending him flying dozens of meters away. The spear was known as the king of all weapons. This was the first time Lin Feng had fought against an expert with outstanding spear techniques, and this time, he suffered a small loss. Zhang Sun Wuji roared and once again charged at Lin Feng, and with another stab, 13 spear images appeared again, all of them aimed at Lin Feng. This move again. Lin Feng had suffered a loss from this move just now. However, Lin Feng would not suffer a second time. When the 13 spear images came at him again, Lin Feng used the Scorching Sun Sword technique. Once the Scorching Sun Sword technique was used, a sun appeared and suppressed Zhang Sun Wuji. Zhang Sun Wuji's expression changed slightly, and he pulled his spear towards the sun that was suppressing him. Bang! The sun crumbled. However, at this time, Lin Feng's sword slashed at Zhang Sun Wuji, and a dazzling sword chi quickly slashed at Zhang Sun Wuji. Zhang Sun Wuji was startled, and he waved his spear to block. A clanging sound rang out as Zhang Sun Wuji used his spear to block the attack. Suddenly, Zhang Sun Wuji felt a chill behind him, and he quickly dodged. Lin Feng's sword almost brushed past his body, causing Zhang Sun Wuji to break out in cold sweat. Although he had dodged Lin Feng's sword, he did not manage to dodge Lin Feng's palm strike. This palm strike landed on Zhang Sun Wuji's body, and Zhang Sun Wuji was instantly sent flying dozens of meters away. Zhang Sun Wuji was wearing a powerful treasure robe, and this strike was not able to injure him severely. "Brat, you're amazing." Zhang Sun Wuji leaped up and once again rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he also attacked Zhang Sun Wuji. This Zhang Sun Wuji's cultivation was very high, and his spear techniques were outstanding. The spear technique just now was clearly not his strongest spear technique. Asterisk rumble. Asterisk just as the two of them were about to fight each other, the entire cave suddenly shook violently. Stone fragments kept falling down, and the mountain peak seemed to be about to collapse. The terrifying energy shockwaves from the battle of the four terrifying existences outside bombarded the mountain peak, so this place was about to collapse. Asterisk whoosh. Asterisk Lin Feng and Zhang Sun Wuji did not dare to continue fighting, and they turned around and flew outside. Before leaving, Lin Feng took out the heaven-devouring jar, and a powerful devouring power surged out, instantly sucking in dozens of powerful magic treasures. Next, Lin Feng's speed was as fast as lightning, and he instantly rushed out of the cave. At that moment, huge fireballs fell from the sky. These were the powerful attacks of Hualong, and several of them flew towards Lin Feng.
Fuck.
Lin Feng's expression changed slightly, and he dodged the fireballs somewhat miserably. He did not dare to stay here any longer, and he quickly flew away. Lin Feng was worried that if he stayed here for too long, he would be killed by the shockwaves from the battle between Hualong and the experts of the three ancient Holy Lands. After Lin Feng left, Zhang Sun Wuji also flew out. His expression was extremely gloomy. More than 10 of his subordinates had been killed, and the treasures in the cave had not been obtained. He turned to look at the cave, which had collapsed in an instant, and he was buried in a world of lava. He could forget about obtaining the treasures. "Brat, no matter who you are, I will definitely kill you." Zhang Sun Wuji roared furiously, and his face was slightly distorted. He did not dare to stay any longer, and he quickly left the center of the battle. Chapter 317. In the end, both sides suffered heavy losses. If that giant dragon was merely a fire dragon of the West, it would have been killed by the three ancient Holy Lands experts. But that giant dragon, of all things, it was an Eastern divine dragon. Although it was an Eastern divine dragon evolved from a fire serpent, its bloodline couldn't compare to those water element Eastern divine dragons. But an Eastern divine dragon was indeed an Eastern divine dragon. Its strength was still abnormally strong. It was too difficult to slay an Eastern divine dragon. The Eastern divine dragon fled without a trace, but the three ancient Holy Lands experts were unwilling to let this giant dragon that was full of treasures escape. Thus they chased after it. On the other hand, Lin Feng, the Fire Qilin, and Zi Yuan returned to the Azure Dragon Institute. Inside the Azure Dragon Institute, there were many young masters and young misses with their maids. Therefore, it wasn't strange for Lin Feng to bring Zi Yuan to the Azure Dragon Institute, but everyone was stunned by Zi Yuan's beauty. At such a young age, she was already so beautiful. When she grew up, wouldn't she be a calamity to the country and its people? Back at the Azure Dragon Institute, Lin Feng told Wenren Kanglin about his encounter with the green-robed old man outside, as well as the fact that the enforcement hall's grand elder Li Mersin was a Devil Path spy. Wenren Kanglin's expression became solemn. After discussing with some higher-ups, they decided to quickly capture Li Mersin, but who would have thought that Li Mersin would escape in advance? At night, Lin Feng and the Fire Qilin studied the second bluestone martial symbol. Lin Feng copied the words on the second bluestone martial symbol. Blood Demon Valley. Lin Feng read out a name. Blood Demon Valley, so it's actually this place. The Fire Qilin was slightly surprised. You know where this is? Lin Feng looked at the Fire Qilin. The Fire Qilin nodded, answering, one of the ruins of the Great Fiend God War. Lin Feng was shocked. He didn't expect it to be such a place. The Great Fiend God War. It could be said to be extremely tragic. Countless gods and devils died. Some ancient races such as the three-headed golden wolf tribe also disappeared in the river of history during this era. Lin Feng rubbed his chin and asked, Ancient Fiend God ruins? How do we enter them? The Fire Qilin said, Primordial Fiend God Ruins. It only opens once every 100 years, and every time it opens, it attracts many strong cultivators. When will it open? You won't wait another 100 years, right? Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. If I'm not mistaken, it's been 100 years since the last time it opened, said Lin Feng. Fire Qian said. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up, and he said, that's really great. When the ancient fiend god ruins open, I'll enter and search for the third martial talisman. If I can get the third talisman, I wonder how many devouring martial spirits I can awaken. Lin Feng was looking forward to it. It was rumored that he could awaken up to 10 devouring martial spirits. As of now, Lin Feng had only awakened 3. Inside the room, Lin Feng began refining the blood spirit pill. The blood spirit pill was an extremely precious treasure. Lin Feng planned to refine it and sell it at the auction house. The blood spirit pill's value was to transform one's bloodline. It was an ancient alchemist recipe that could enhance one's bloodline power. Once it spread, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. This time, the shock it would bring was definitely not something that a mere body-tempering liquid could compare to. Body-tempering liquid. It only improved one's physique. On the other hand, the blood spirit pill directly increased one's bloodline power. One had to know that increasing one's bloodline power was an extremely difficult task. Normally, one could only slowly increase it through cultivation. Blood spirit pill. It directly increased one's bloodline power by a large margin. The stronger one's bloodline power was. Similarly, when one broke through to a certain realm, one's battle power would increase even more. Who wouldn't be tempted by such a treasure? Lin Feng placed the spiritual herbs into the cauldron one by one. Under Lin Feng's refinement, each and every one of the herbs was gradually being refined into a pure medicinal liquid. When all 76 spiritual herbs were refined into medicinal liquid, Lin Feng began to fuse them. The main ingredient to refine the blood spirit pill was the blood spirit grass. However, other than the blood spirit grass, he also needed 75 supplementary spiritual herbs. The entire refining process was quite troublesome. However, to Lin Feng, this was not a difficult task. 6 hours later, Lin Feng exited his closed-door cultivation. Although he was exhausted, his face was filled with joy. Creak. Lin Feng opened the door. Young master, you're out? Seeing Lin Feng come out, Ziyuan smiled. She brought a basin of water over. Young master, please take a bath. Lin Feng washed his face, then affectionately pinched Ziyuan's soft cheeks. Ziyuan's cheeks instantly blushed. Don't wait for me to come back for dinner tonight. I'm going out, Lin Feng said, and Ziyuan nodded obediently. After Lin Feng left, Ziyuan reached out her slender hand to caress the part of her face that was pinched by Lin Feng, her bright eyes filled with shyness. Lin Feng left the Azure Dragon Institute, heading straight to the auction house. If he wanted to get a good price for the blood spirit pill, he needed the auction house's cooperation. Hearing Lin Feng's arrival, Dongfang Gu personally came out to welcome Lin Feng. Little friend Lin Feng, long time no see, welcome, Dongfang Gu said with a smile. I've come to disturb you. To actually have senior personally come out to welcome me, this junior is overwhelmed by the favor. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said humbly, haha, us old and young, there's no need to be so polite here. Come, please go upstairs. Dongfang Gu personally led Lin Feng to the private room on the second floor. On the first floor's main hall, many people were watching this scene with their mouths agape. Who is that young man? He actually made Dongfang Gu personally come out to welcome him? I don't know, perhaps he's a young master from an ancient family who went out to train? That's possible. The people in the hall discussed fervently. At this time, Lin Feng and Dongfang Gu had already arrived at the private room on the second floor, and a maid served them tea. Lin Feng said, I have a pill here. Would senior like to take a look? Dongfang Ji's eyes lit up as he recalled the body-tempering liquid from before. Could it be that the mysterious alchemist behind Lin Feng had refined a new pill? Dongfang Gu couldn't help but look forward to it. Lin Feng took out the bottle containing the blood spirit pill and handed it to Dongfang Gu. Dongfang Gu opened the bottle and took a whiff. He asked curiously, what kind of pill is this? Immemorial blood spirit pill. It can increase a cultivator's bloodline purity. If a yin-yang realm cultivator consumes it, their bloodline purity will double. If a yin-yang realm cultivator consumes it, their bloodline purity will triple. Lin Feng explained. What? There's such a pill? Dongfang Gu cried out in disbelief. His hand holding the bottle trembled violently, and his face was filled with shock. The pills that were circulating today that could increase the purity of one's bloodline were generally only effective for cultivators in the martial warrior realm. Moreover, they could only increase the purity of one's bloodline by 50% at most. 50% bloodline purity was only 0.5 times. However, even such pills were regarded as treasures by the major forces. Once they appeared, they would fight over them madly. Lin Feng's blood spirit pill was too terrifying. It was not limited to the martial warrior realm, martial master realm cultivators, martial general realm cultivators, martial king realm cultivators, and even yin-yang realm lords. They could all be used. Moreover, the bloodline purity enhancement was too shocking. Martial warrior to martial king realm cultivators would triple their bloodline purity. Yin-yang realm cultivators would consume it. Bloodline purity doubled. If bloodline purity doubled, how much would one's cultivation increase? If bloodline purity tripled, how much would one's cultivation increase? Dongfang Gu had already predicted that once news of the blood spirit pill spread, it would cause a huge commotion in the 3,000 provinces of the Tianwu continent. Countless ancient factions, including ancient imperial dynasties, ancient sacred lands, all these factions would be alarmed. Chapter 318. Young friend Lin, please wait for a moment. I'll take this pill and show it to my family's young mistress. If she's satisfied with it, she can even mobilize enough power to make the most ancient factions pay attention to this pill. Dongfang Gu said. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Dongfang Gu was referring to the first miss of the Jiang family? The first miss of the Jiang family, who had been conferred the title of primordial gods by the Vermilion Bird Pavilion. Lin Feng was extremely shocked. He had never thought that a small auction house like the true martial empire would have such an important person. Lin Feng nodded. All right, I'll wait here. Young friend, please wait for a moment. Dongfang Gu stood up and quickly left. He arrived outside Zhang Yudi's room and knocked on the door. First miss, Lin Feng is here again, and he brought a pill with him. Uncle Dongfang, come in. Zhang Yudi's voice rang out. Dongfang Gu opened the door and walked in. Zhang Yudi put down the scroll in her hand and looked at Dongfang Gu. Uncle Dongfang, what pill did Lin Feng bring? It's this pill. Dongfang Gu handed the porcelain bottle to Zhang Yudi. Zhang Yudi opened it and sniffed it, and her expression changed again. First miss, is there something wrong with this pill? Dongfang Ji's heart skipped a beat. He thought that there was something wrong with the pill that Lin Feng had brought. Zhang Yudi's voice became serious as she said, the primordial blood spirit pill. That's right. Lin Feng said that this is the blood spirit pill. He said that if a cultivator below the yin-yang realm consumes it, their bloodline purity will increase by 3 times. If a cultivator below the yin-yang realm consumes it, their bloodline purity will increase by 2 times. Dongfang Gu still couldn't believe what he had just heard. Zhang Yudi said, what a powerful pill. First miss, do you think that this pill really has such an effect? Dongfang Gu asked. As far as he knew, such a heaven-defying pill shouldn't have appeared. Even the Jiang family didn't seem to have such a pill that could greatly increase bloodline purity. If it's an ordinary pill, it's impossible. However, there's a person's pill. It's possible. Zhang Yudi's eyes narrowed. May I know who young miss is referring to? Dongfang Gu asked. Primordial divine alchemist. Zhang Yudi said. Hiss. Dongfang Gu sucked in a breath of cold air. The primordial divine alchemist was a righteous god conferred by the Vermilion Bird Pavilion. He wasn't someone those false gods or evil gods could compare to. Dongfang Gu said, rumor has it that the primordial divine alchemist died in the primordial immortal demon war. From then on, the primordial divine alchemist's legacy disappeared without a trace. Zhang Yudi said, yes. For countless years, Many people have been searching for the primordial divine alchemist's inheritance, hoping to find it. However, there was no news of him, but this Lin Feng had taken out the primordial body-tempering elixir first, another primordial blood spirit pill. Uncle Dongfeng, you should know that our Zhang family's pill formulas were passed down by a divine ancestor, and their effects are so strong that it's hard to find a better pill formula than our Zhang family's. However, Lin Feng took out something that our Zhang family's pill formulas can't refine. What does this mean? Dongfeng Gu said, young miss, you're saying that the alchemist behind Lin Feng has already obtained the primordial divine alchemist's legacy. Zhang Yudi nodded slightly and said, it's possible. It had to be said that Zhang Yudi was a person with monstrous intelligence. Just from the primordial body-tempering elixir and the blood spirit pill, she had deduced that the fire Qilin behind Lin Feng had obtained the primordial divine alchemist's legacy. Her deduction was completely correct. Young miss, what should we do next? Dongfeng Gu asked. I'll go see him. Such a person can't be judged by his background. Even our Zhang family's ancestor was in dire straits back then. He was born lowly and only rose to prominence in his old age. Finally, he became a god at the Vermilion Bird Terrace. Although Lin Feng's background is lowly, no one can say for sure what kind of terrifying existence he will become in the future. Zhang Yudi stood up and walked outside. Lin Feng was sipping tea. At that moment, faint footsteps could be heard from outside. Lin Feng raised his head and saw Dongfeng Gu and a 20-year-old girl walking towards him. This girl was too beautiful. She wasn't just beautiful. Her noble and elegant aura made anyone who saw her feel ashamed of their own inferiority. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. This girl should be the Zhang family's young miss, right? So noble. As expected of someone from the primordial Zhang family. Which of the core disciples nurtured by these most ancient powers weren't dragons amongst men? A phoenix among men? For example, Qin Mubai, Fairy Mengyao, Ziyao, and the others that Lin Feng had met before were all very polite people. Only the ordinary disciples of the major powers were arrogant and despotic. For example, someone like Chen Yang was just an ordinary disciple of the Penglai Divine Land. He didn't have any great achievements, but after coming out of the Penglai Divine Land, he thought himself infallible and acted high and mighty. He didn't know that in the Penglai Divine Land, he was just one of the most ordinary disciples. Lin Feng stood up and cupped his fists. He smiled and said, you must be the Zhang family's young miss, right? I'm Lin Feng. I've heard Uncle Dongfeng mention Lin Gongzi a long time ago. I'm Zhang Yudi. Lin Gongzi, please don't be so courteous. Please sit. Zhang Yudi smiled faintly. She was so noble and beautiful that no one dared to look directly into her eyes. After everyone was seated, Zhang Yudi asked, Lin Gongzi, who refined this blood spirit pill? Lin Feng smiled and said, I'm not that talented, but the blood spirit pill was refined by me. Zhang Yudi and Dongfeng Gu naturally didn't believe that Lin Feng could refine the blood spirit pill. Of course, they wouldn't expose him either. Zhang Yudi smiled and said, Lin Gongzi is really a great talent. He's able to refine the primordial blood spirit pill at such a young age. Our auction house will buy this primordial blood spirit pill. When the time comes, I'll inform the various ancient empires and ancient sacred lands. I'm sure they'll be very interested. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, Thank you for your trouble. After pausing for a moment, he said, I don't want gold coins for the blood spirit pill. I want spirit stones. Spirit stones were an extremely important cultivation resource, but they were rarely circulated in the secular world. Most of them were in the hands of the major powers. For example, the spirit stone mine that the Lin family had discovered couldn't be protected at all. Even the true martial country couldn't protect it. Because of this, the true martial country could be destroyed. Thus, they had no choice but to give it to Sun Moon City. Only a major power like Sun Moon City could protect it. Of course, every year, the Sun and Moon City would give the Lin clan some spiritual stones as a reward. However, these spiritual stones were of the lowest quality, nothing more. The Lin clan could use these spiritual stones to practice cultivation, but these spiritual stones were of no use to Lin Feng. Only high-grade spirit stones were useful to Lin Feng. Spirit stones could be used for cultivation, but they could also be used to set up large-scale formations. If one wanted to maintain the formation for a long time, they would need spirit stones. When Lin Feng had killed the black-robed poison master, he had found quite a few spirit stones. However, during the battle at Fallen Moon City, in order to set up the defensive formation, Lin Feng had buried the spirit stones into the formation core. The energy emitted by these spirit stones was used to support the formation's operation. This was the reason why the formation was able to withstand the 400,000 beastmen for an entire day and night. If it wasn't for the spirit stones, the formation would have already been broken through by the 400,000 beastmen. How could it have lasted for an entire day and night? However, it was very difficult to obtain high-grade spirit stones. However, if one borrowed the power of the auction house, it shouldn't be too difficult to obtain high-grade spirit stones. Chapter 319. Spirit Stones. No problem. Zhang Yudi nodded. She smiled and said, I need 2 months to prepare. Lin Feng said, sure. He then said, I have a prescription here. I need some spirit herbs, and I wonder if the auction house can help me collect them. A prescription? Zhang Yudi's eyes lit up. Could it be the spirit herbs that the mysterious entity needed? Zhang Yudi asked, what kind of prescription is it? Lin Feng took out a prescription. There were over 200 different kinds of herbs written on it. All the spirit herbs I need are here, Lin Feng said. Zhang Yudi glanced at it and said, there are at least 5 types of spirit herbs that are very difficult to find in the East County. However, you don't have to worry. I'll send people to get them from other places. It'll take at most 2 months for you to obtain these spirit herbs. Lin Feng thought to himself, as expected of a superpower. According to the Fire Qilin, some of the spirit herbs were difficult to find in the Middle Holy Sky continent because some of them had already gone extinct. However, judging from Zhang Yudi's words, it was obvious that the auction house had these spiritual herbs, or more accurately, the Zhang family had them. When the auction is over, can I deduct the cost of the spirit herbs from the spirit stones? Lin Feng asked. Ordinary spirit herbs were fine. They could be bought with gold coins. But there were some herbs which couldn't be bought with gold coins. They required spiritual stones. Lin Feng still had a few spiritual stones left, but he didn't have enough spiritual stones to buy them. Zhang Yudi smiled and said, this is nothing. When the auction starts, the auction house will inform Lin Gongzi. All right, then I'll take my leave. Lin Feng cupped his fists. Zhang Yudi and Dongfang Gu sent Lin Feng off. Uncle Dongfang, take a look at this prescription. Zhang Yudi handed the prescription to Dongfang Gu. Dongfang Gu couldn't wait to see what kind of medicine Lin Feng had given him. But when he saw more than 200 types of spirit herbs, his face fell. This Brad is really smart. He deliberately wrote in a bunch of random herbs so that we wouldn't be able to guess what kind of medicine it was. Dongfang Gu said, no, I guessed it. Zhang Yudi said, what kind of prescription is this? Dongfang Gu asked, do you see these 2 spiritual herbs? Scarlet blood demon ginseng, blazing ghost grass. Zhang Yudi pointed at the 2 herbs and said, these are all extremely rare elixirs. The scarlet blood demon ginseng is said to be a ginseng that mutated after absorbing the blood of the demon god, and the scorching sun ghost grass is said to only grow during the ghost festival every year. It will die in the wee hours of the morning and can only survive for an hour. Moreover, it can only appear in places with extreme negative energy, and that kind of place is often a place of great danger. Dongfang Gu said. Zhang Yudi nodded and said, these 2 pills are the main ingredients for refining the small creation pill. Little creation pill? What pill is this? Dongfang Gu asked in shock. The word creation contained too many meanings. The word creation was also filled with too many mysteries. What was creation? The change of the 4 seasons was creation. Birth, old age, sickness, and death were all creation. This was the evolution of the natural laws. This was creation. They actually dared to use the word creation in the name of a pill. It was obvious that this was a heaven-defying pill. The small creation pill. I've only heard that the divine ancestor once discussed alchemy with the immemorial alchemy god, and saw the immemorial alchemy god refine the small fortune pill. He speculated about the small fortune pill's formula and studied it for a long time, but in the end, he couldn't figure it out. However, I know that only refining the small fortune pill would use both the crimson blood demon and scorching sun ghost grass. The small fortune pill's effect is said to be extremely heaven-defying. Let's put it this way. The immemorial blood spirit pill can increase a person's bloodline strength, while the small fortune pill can turn a cultivation trash into a peerless genius. Zhang Yudi said. Hiss. Dongfang sucked in a breath of cold air and said in disbelief, "How is this possible? How can there be such a pill in this world?" Zhang Yudi smiled bitterly and said, "The immemorial alchemy god's prescription is indeed very frightening. It seems that he wants to refine the small creation pill. However, Lin Feng's talent should be top-notch, so the small creation pill won't be of much use to a genius like him. Is he going to auction the small creation pill he refined?" Dongfang Gu said, "If he auctioned it at our auction house, wouldn't the entire Tianwu continent's 3,000 provinces be shaken?" Zhang Yudi frowned slightly and said, "But I feel that he doesn't want to auction it. Let's put this matter aside for now and gather all the herbs he needs first." Dongfang Gu nodded and asked, "Why didn't First Miss mention his master? Hasn't First Miss always wanted to meet the mysterious alchemist behind Lin Feng?" Zhang Yudi said, "I originally wanted to mention it, but I gave up in the end. I'm not familiar with Lin Feng, and rashly mentioning it would only arouse his vigilance and disgust. The gains don't make up for the losses. I believe that as I deepen my communication with Lin Feng and wait for the right time to bring up this matter, it would be the best choice." The days passed one by one. Lin Feng began his daily cultivation again. Apart from cultivation, he also studied spirit arrays and alchemy. Hard work paid off, and Lin Feng's spirit array skills made another breakthrough, successfully advancing to the level of yellow rank, intermediate rank, and intermediate rank spirit array master. As for Lin Feng's alchemy skills, they improved much faster, reaching the level of yellow rank, advanced rank, and elementary alchemist. This had a lot to do with the fire Qilin. Lin Feng studied spirit array skills by himself, so his progress was naturally much slower. However, with the fire Qilin's guidance, his alchemy skills improved by leaps and bounds. The Azure Dragon Institute was bustling with noise and excitement, because in 3 months' time, it would be the Mountain River List ranking competition that was held once every 3 years. Every time the Mountain River List ranking competition was held, it would attract everyone's attention. This year was especially so. Lin Feng's rise and the conflict between Lin Feng and the Blood Dragon Gang would definitely be the year's biggest attraction. It was also said that the Blood Dragon Gang's president, Blood Dragon, had returned to the Azure Dragon Institute and was in seclusion. The Blood Dragon Gang released a ruthless statement that they would teach Lin Feng a lesson during the Mountain River List ranking competition. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. On this day, Zhang Pingfan came to Lin Feng's room to report that someone was looking for Lin Feng. Lin Feng had just finished refining with the fire Qilin. After tidying up and walking out of his room, he asked, "Pingfan, who is it?" Zhang Pingfan looked at Lin Feng with envy, jealousy, and hatred, saying, "The other party did not allow you to say. Go and take a look yourself." Lin Feng nodded. Being so secretive made him a little suspicious. Who was it that was looking for him? Chapter 320. When Lin Feng arrived outside, he saw a tall and slender woman. She had a delicate and beautiful face. She was so beautiful that it was suffocating. Within the Dragon Gate, many people were scattered around. They were all looking at the peerless beauty who was like a ripe peach in front of them with amazement. Even Long Shiyu, who was a man of few desires, could not help but take a few more glances at her. Sect leader. When the people in the dragon sect saw Lin Feng, they bowed in unison. When Shangguan Feier turned around and saw the person she had been thinking about day and night, her heart trembled slightly. Feier, Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised to see such a beautiful woman. He also missed Shangguan Feier very much. However, Shangguan Feier had always been the president of the Mercenary Association in the mercenary town. Without the order of her family, she could not leave without permission. Now, the training was finally over, and she had returned to the imperial capital. Lin Feng took a few quick steps forward, and in the midst of Shangguan Fei's startled cry, he pulled her into his embrace and hugged her hot, alluring body. Shangguan Fei blushed and hugged Lin Feng, burying her beautiful face in Lin Feng's arms. Many of the dragon sect's disciples had the urge to bang their heads against the wall. Originally, they thought that this breathtakingly beautiful woman was the sect leader's relative. That way, they could ask the sect leader to introduce her to them. However, when they saw Lin Feng and Shangguan Fei hugging each other, they felt like their hearts were about to break. This peerless beauty was the sect leader's woman. That was true. Perhaps only a wise and powerful man like the sect leader was worthy of such a beautiful woman. Everyone is looking. Shangguan Fei blushed and mumbled softly. However, after their reunion, she was reluctant to leave Lin Feng's arms. What are you afraid of? Lin Feng took a deep breath in between Shangguan Fei's hair. He could smell the fragrance of her hair. Shangguan Fei gave a surprised cry, and Lin Feng wrapped his arms around her waist and lifted her off the ground. Sect leader, it's broad daylight. What are you doing to sister-in-law? Wu Ming jeered. This immediately caused a group of people to burst into laughter. Shangguan Fei's face was so red it could bleed, and she buried her head even deeper. Lin Feng said, "All of you scram. No one is allowed to enter the backyard. Otherwise, the sect scouts, especially you, will be hung up and beaten for 3 days if you dare to violate the sect's rules." Lin Feng's words made Wu Ming's face pale. Lin Feng carried Shangguan Fei back to their room, placing her on his lap. Their eyes met, and all the longing in their hearts turned into a passionate kiss. Lin Feng's hands moved up and down, and Shangguan Fei's clothes were removed piece by piece. After an unknown period of time, the wind and rain finally stopped. Shangguan Fei lay in Lin Feng's arms, stretching out her jade-like hand to draw circles on Lin Feng's chest, as lazy as a kitten. "Did you come back today?" Lin Feng asked. Just as I came back, I came to find you," Shangguan Fei answered softly. Usually, Lin Feng and Shangguan Fei would exchange letters, and Lin Feng would tell her about the happenings in the Azure Dragon Institute. Lin Feng pulled Shangguan Fei into his arms, asking, "You're not leaving?" Shangguan Fei nodded. "For now, I won't be leaving." "That's great. Then we can see each other more often." Lin Feng's right hand slowly slid down her smooth back, causing Shangguan Fei's face to redden again. "One more time." Lin Feng smiled wickedly. The imperial capital was bustling with noise and excitement. Lin Feng and Shangguan Fei were walking on the main street. After several rounds of intense exhaustion, Lin Feng needed to replenish his body. "This is the most famous restaurant in the imperial capital," Shangguan Fei said. Lin Feng nodded and walked up to the restaurant with Shangguan Fei. They sat by a window on the 3rd floor, overlooking the beautiful scenery in the distance, as well as the bustling streets. "My family is the Shangguan family. I have an older brother and a younger brother. All of them have the same father but different mothers. I'm the daughter of my father after he got drunk with a servant girl. My mother's status is very low, so all these years, I've been working hard, trying to prove myself. I hope that my mother can live a good life, that she won't be bullied by others, and that she can have a high status in the family." Shangguan Fei muttered to herself. This was the first time Lin Feng heard Shangguan Fei talk about her background. He had never imagined that she would have such a background. Lin Feng held her hand, his heart aching as he said, "With me here, everything will get better." Shangguan Fei revealed a happy smile, nodding heavily. She believed in Lin Feng's words. At that moment, more than 10 people came up to the 3rd floor. Suddenly, someone saw Lin Feng and Shangguan Fei sitting by the window. Jin Wuzhong, it was actually him. His eyes were filled with hatred. One of the young masters beside Jin Wuzhong looked in Jin Wuzhong's direction, but he only glanced at Lin Feng before looking at Shangguan Fei. When he saw Shangguan Fei, the young master's eyes widened. This young master was none other than the 3rd young master of Lord Taixian, Long Yuxiao, whom Shangguan Fei had met in the Black Street. When he saw Shangguan Fei, he could not take his eyes off her. He thought to himself, "There's actually such a beauty in the imperial capital. She's even better than the fox girls I bought in the Black Street a few days ago. No, compared to this woman, Those fox girls are just ordinary women. Long Yuxiao looked at Jin Wuzhong and said, Wuzhong, do you know those two? Jin Wuzhong's sister was Lord Taishuan's concubine. Therefore, Jin Wuzhong had a good relationship with Long Yuxiao, the third son of Lord Taishian. Moreover, Long Yuxiao was also a typical second-generation young master. Since he and Jin Wuzhong were birds of a feather, they naturally got along well. Young master, that's Lin Feng. Jin Wuzhong's eyes were spitting fire. That's the little brat who beat you up? How dare he touch someone from Lord Taishuan's palace? Is he tired of living? Let's go and meet that little brat. Long Yuxiao said coldly, but his eyes were fixed on Shangguan Fei. Obviously, he had an ulterior motive. A group of people walked towards Lin Feng and Shangguan Fei. Little brat, you didn't expect to meet me here, did you? Jin Wuzhong sneered at Lin Feng. Jin Wuzhong, it's you. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and said, I let you live, what now? Do you want to die? Jin Wuzhong sneered, little brat, don't be so arrogant. Let's see how you'll die today. At that moment, Long Yuxiao walked out and sneered at Lin Feng. Little brat, you dare touch someone from Lord Taishuan's palace in the imperial capital? Are you tired of living? Look, it's young master Long Yuxiao. Who's that little brat? He actually offended Long Yuxiao. This is going to be troublesome. Long Yuxiao is a vengeful person. Many people looked over and pointed at them. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. He had seen Long Yuxiao before, and he remembered seeing him in the Black Street. He sneered and said, What do you want? Hee, I've always been a kind person. I don't like to get to the bottom of things. If you want to live, give that woman to me. I'll spare your life today. Long Yuxiao smiled lecherously at Shangguan Fei. Rumor has it that Long Yuxiao is extremely lecherous. He's not even 20 years old, but he already has many wives. That little brat's woman is too beautiful. I'm afraid he won't be able to escape the fate of being violated by Long Yuxiao. Many people were looking at Lin Feng with pity in their eyes. Hearing Long Yuxiao's words, Lin Feng's face darkened. Family, friends, women. That was Lin Feng's taboo. A dragon had a reverse scale, and those who touched it would die. This Long Yuxiao was just courting death. Lin Feng's cold voice sounded like it came from hell. Kneel down and slap yourself 1,000 times. Otherwise, I'll make you wish you were dead today. Boom. Lin Feng's words silenced the entire restaurant. Everyone looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. Was this little brat crazy? How dare he be so impudent to Long Yuxiao? Was he tired of living? Chapter 321. Lord Taishian. His power overturned the imperial court. Who dared to offend the son of Lord Taishian? Wasn't that courting death? However, this young man in front of them actually dared to do so. Many people shook their heads and sighed. They felt that Lin Feng was still too young and did not know how to restrain and endure. He would definitely suffer a great loss today. After hearing this, Long Yuxiao was about to explode with anger. In the imperial capital, there was actually someone who dared to be so presumptuous towards him. Anger. Long Yuxiao could only feel a raging flame burning in his chest. His eyes became extremely sinister. Those who knew Long Yuxiao knew that. Once Long Yuxiao had such a sinister look, it meant that Long Yuxiao had the intention to kill. Jin Wuzhong added fuel to the fire and said, Young master, this kid doesn't put you in his eyes at all. If he doesn't put you in his eyes, it means that he doesn't put Lord Taishian in his eyes. Long Yuxiao was provoked by Jin Wuzhong and became even angrier. He waved his hand and coldly ordered, Catch this kid for me. Today, I will let him know how miserable the consequences of offending me are. Yes, young master. Immediately, 2 guards walked out. These 2 guards walked with a majestic gait. Their aura seemed to condense into a sharp sword. 10th level martial master. Many people exclaimed. These 2 experts were at the 10th level martial master realm. They were definitely experts. Lin Feng, Shangguan Fei's pretty face turned slightly pale. She was very worried. The opponent's strength was indeed too strong. Shangguan Fei and Lin Feng hadn't seen each other for more than a year. Now, she didn't know much about Lin Feng's cultivation. Don't worry, don't be afraid. Lin Feng smiled slightly. Kid die. The two guards had a sinister smile on their faces. One from the left and one from the right. They rushed towards Lin Feng, waving their fists towards Lin Feng. That kid is finished, many onlookers exclaimed. Two experts at the 10th level martial master realm dealing with a 17 or 18-year-old youth. Wasn't this a simple matter? In many people's opinion, one person was enough to deal with Lin Feng. If the two of them were to attack together, it would be a bit of a waste of talent. However, in the face of their attacks, Lin Feng didn't even get up. Is that kid scared silly? He's not moving at all. Some people shook their heads and looked at Lin Feng with eyes full of pity. They guessed that Lin Feng was probably regretting offending Long Yuxiao right now. But obviously, there was no medicine for regret. Just as the two 10th Celestial Stage martial masters were about to land a punch on Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng raised his right hand and slapped the table. The tea in the cup was shaken out. Lin Feng flicked his finger lightly. 2 drops of tea flew out like 2 sharp swords. Puff, puff. Chapter 322. Swish. Everyone's gaze turned to the direction of the stairs. It was a handsome young man in white, about 27 or 28 years old. This was an expert. From time to time, there was a sharp glint in his eyes. Who are you? Lin Feng looked at the young man, his eyebrows slightly raised. Who is this person? Looks like he's going to intervene in this matter. Many people were pointing at the young man, discussing animatedly. Things were getting more and more interesting. Many people were incomparably excited. Zhang Yunlong. The young man said proudly. Zhang Yunlong? He's Zhang Yunlong? One of the true martial country's royal guards, 5 great experts. Gasps could be heard from the crowd. The so-called royal guards were the soldiers that protected the true martial country's royal palace. To protect the country's ruler, the cultivation of these royal guards was naturally high. As for Zhang Yunlong, as one of the royal guard's 5 great experts, naturally, his strength was also exceptionally tyrannical. Never heard of him. Lin Feng shrugged. Zhang Yunlong's complacent expression turned gloomy when he heard Lin Feng's words. He thought that Lin Feng was purposely saying this to make him lose face. In fact, Lin Feng had never heard of this Zhang Yunlong. Normally, Lin Feng would be cultivating. Even if he wasn't cultivating, he would spend his time studying alchemy and formations. If he wasn't in the Azure Dragon Institute, he would be out adventuring, such as going to the Flaming Dragon Ridge to search for the second martial talisman. How could he have the time to learn about random things? Zhang Yunlong narrowed his eyes and said, Do you know who the person kneeling in front of you is? Zhang Yunlong's voice was long and deep, a clear indication of his powerful cultivation. His breath was suppressed in his dantian. Thus he was able to speak like this. This required a high cultivation to be able to do so. Lin Feng guessed that this Zhang Yunlong was definitely a martial general expert. Lin Feng said indifferently, I don't care who he is. Since he dared to provoke me, he should be prepared to pay a heavy price. Lin Feng's words were incomparably domineering. Many people were shocked, secretly guessing Lin Feng's identity. Zhang Yunlong said with a gloomy expression, This person is the 3rd son of the Supreme Mystery King, a relative of the royal family. Lin Feng's lips curled up. Naturally, he knew of Long Yuxiao's identity. Just now, Long Yuxiao had also introduced himself. But he didn't care. Azure Dragon. The true martial country couldn't care less. Although Long Yuxiao's to come out of the Imperial family's royal guards, the Imperial family's royal family, the Imperial family's geniuses. In the future, the Azure Dragon Institute's geniuses would leave the Azure Dragon Institute and join an ancient force, becoming a peerless expert. In the future, when the true martial country encountered a problem they couldn't solve, the Imperial family could rely on the fact that they were from the same country to plead with the other party for help or seek their protection. As for a member of the royal family who only knew how to commit crimes, what could they bring to the empire? Are you done talking? If you're done, go to the side and don't disturb this young master's business. Many people burst out laughing. Obviously, that young man didn't care about Long Yuxiao's identity. He even mocked Zhang Yunlong. Brat, are you refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit? Zhang Yunlong was humiliated. and his face became extremely gloomy. Lin Feng looked coldly at Zhang Yunlong and said, "Who do you think you are? Scram, or I'll take care of you as well." The entire restaurant instantly fell silent. No one expected Lin Feng to berate Zhang Yunlong like this. He didn't put Zhang Yunlong in his eyes at all. Zhang Yunlong was one of the 5 great experts of the royal guards. This was a revered, general-level powerhouse. This brat dared to be so rude to Zhang Yunlong? Did he not know how terrifying Zhang Yunlong was? That was simply courting death. Although Lin Feng's strength was shocking, Lin Feng was only 17 or 18 years old. No matter how strong he was, how could he be stronger than Zhang Yunlong, who had been famous for a long time? Obviously, no one thought highly of Lin Feng. Good. Zhang Yunlong was so angry that he laughed. "Brat, you dare to be so arrogant in front of me? I'd like to see if you have the qualifications." As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Yunlong rushed down the stairs. Lin Feng looked coldly at Zhang Yunlong. "It's none of your business, but you insisted on interfering. I told you to scram. You didn't scram. You're really an idiot. Since that's the case, kneel in front of me like Long Yuxiao and Kowtow to admit your mistakes." Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he stepped towards Zhang Yunlong. Domineering. How domineering. Everyone looked at Lin Feng in shock. Facing an expert like Zhang Yunlong, he was still so confident. Could it be that he really had the strength to defeat Zhang Yunlong? "Brat, you're courting death." Zhang Yunlong roared angrily and directly used the Mad Dragon Fist technique. He continuously punched out 36 times. Roar. Behind Zhang Yunlong, a giant dragon of true qi was vaguely condensing. The gigantic dragon made of pure qi was roaring and moving towards Lin Feng with murderous intent. Martial General Realm 4th, Heavenly Layer. 125 Dragons of Strength. The moment Zhang Yunlong made his move, Lin Feng more or less understood Zhang Yunlong's strength. This Zhang Yunlong was indeed very strong. However, facing Lin Feng, he was still lacking by a large margin. Whether it was in terms of strength, or in terms of secret techniques, or in terms of physical body, there was no way he could compare to Lin Feng. Facing Zhang Yunlong's attack, Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He used the Great Heaven Covering Hand. Bam! The true Qi dragon that Zhang Yunlong had condensed was directly dispersed. Following that, Lin Feng and Zhang Yunlong collided. One move. Just one move. Zhang Yunlong could not hold on any longer. With a wah sound, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The arm that collided with Lin Feng was directly broken. Lin Feng's palm then landed on Zhang Yunlong's body. With a plop, Zhang Yunlong and Long Yuxiao knelt side by side in front of Lin Feng. Heavens, how is this possible? Am I seeing things? I heard that Zhang Yunlong's cultivation is at the 4th heavenly layer of the martial general realm. How could he be defeated in one move? Who is that youth? He beat Zhang Yunlong to the point of vomiting blood in one move. Too powerful. Really too powerful. They're not on the same level at all. Long Yuxiao has provoked someone he can't afford to provoke this time. Chapter 323. Shangguan Fair also couldn't believe what was happening in front of her. She knew that Lin Feng's talent was amazing, but she absolutely couldn't believe that Lin Feng could defeat a 4th heavenly layer martial general in one move in just over a year. How terrifying was Lin Feng now? Thinking that Lin Feng was her man, Shangguan Fair's beautiful face suddenly revealed a charming smile. Roar! Roar! Zhang Yunlong, who was kneeling on the ground, let out a beast-like roar from his throat. His eyes were full of resentment as he looked at Lin Feng. He was Zhang Yunlong, one of the 5 masters of the Imperial Army. He was one of the 5 most promising candidates to take over the position of commander of the Imperial Army in the future. But now, he was defeated in one move. Moreover, he was kneeling on the ground. Zhang Yunlong knew that his future was over. How could the Empire let a person like him, who was kneeling in front of others, take over the position of commander of the Imperial Army? It was all because of this person in front of him. It was he who destroyed his future. If looks could kill, Lin Feng had already been cut to pieces by Zhang Yunlong's resentful gaze. You think you are strong enough to bully me? So, you insist on meddling in this matter? But let me tell you, there are many people you can't afford to offend. Lin Feng looked at Zhang Yunlong indifferently. This person was obviously jackals of the same tribe as Long Yuxiao. Lin Feng heard that the Supreme Xin King was a supporter of the 8th Prince, and Zhang Yunlong was helping Long Yuxiao. So he was basically sure that this person was also one of the 8th Prince's people. Lin Feng didn't have a good impression of this 8th Prince. With this person's support, the Blood Dragon Gang broke the law in the Azure Dragon Institute. It made the heavens angry and people resentful. Lin Feng even suspected that the 8th Prince was related to the Devil Path, because the friendship between Li Mosin and the 8th Prince was very deep. This Li Mosin was a Devil Path spy hidden in the Azure Dragon Institute. Over the years, the 8th Prince's authority had been increasing day by day. Several times, it was because the demonic Dao forces had caused chaos in the Jinwu country. The 8th Prince had contributed to quelling the chaos, so he had been conferred a title. Lin Feng suspected that the 8th Prince had colluded with a Devil Path expert, disregarding the lives of countless civilians, and conniving with the Devil Path expert to indiscriminately slaughter the innocent. Then, when the 8th Prince went to quell the rebellion, it was actually a play with the Devil Path expert, and in the end, it was a great merit. Although he was not very interested in the affairs of the royal family of the Jinwu country, he was not very interested in them. But Lin Feng didn't really like the 8th Prince. Moreover, Lin Feng had a bad relationship with the Blood Dragon Gang. It was obvious that he had already broken off his relationship with the 8th Prince. Although Lin Feng was too lazy to pay attention to the 8th Prince, the 8th Prince didn't necessarily think the same way. Perhaps he already regarded Lin Feng as an enemy. "Brat, you better let me go now. Otherwise, I'll make you pay in blood." Zhang Yunlong's eyes were fierce. At the side, Long Yuxiao also roared with hatred. "Let me go, or I'll make sure you die without a burial ground." A cold, killing intent appeared on Lin Feng's face. "You still dare to be so arrogant after falling into my hands. You really don't know what's good for you. I'd like to see if you have a tough mouth or a tough bone." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng stretched out his right hand and gently slashed. Swish, swish, swish. Sword chi condensed from Zhun Qi shot out, directly slashing towards Long Yuxiao and Zhang Yunlong. Pooh, pooh, pooh. One after another, the sound of tearing could be heard. Lin Feng unleashed his sword chi, leaving wounds on Long Yuxiao and Zhang Yunlong's bodies. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of wounds appeared on their bodies. It was as if they were being dismembered. Ah! Both of them let out shrill cries of agony. "Spare me! Spare me!" Long Yuxiao couldn't hold on any longer and loudly begged for mercy. "I was wrong. Stop, quickly stop." Soon, Zhang Yunlong couldn't hold on any longer and kept screaming. However, Lin Feng didn't stop at all. Long Yuxiao actually dared to covet his woman, Shangguan Feier. He deserved to die. Zhang Yunlong was arrogant and ruthless. He was helping the tyrant. He deserved to die. Pooh, pooh, pooh. The sound of tearing could be heard continuously. The flesh on Long Yuxiao and Zhang Yunlong's bodies were being cut off piece by piece. Many people felt their scalps go numb when they saw this scene. Is Long Yuxiao and Zhang Yunlong really going to be dismembered? Heavens, this Long Yuxiao is usually arrogant and despotic, but he's really kicked an iron plate today. He didn't expect that young master to be so powerful, right? Furthermore, this guy actually wants to lay his hands on that young master's woman. It's obvious that he's completely infuriated that young master. Many people in the surroundings were discussing. Looking at the bloody scene in front of them, they were all very excited. Long Yuxiao was originally a spoiled brat who hated people's hearts. Seeing his miserable state, many people were gloating over his misfortune. Stop! Right at that moment, a cold voice rang out. A woman had come down from upstairs without anyone noticing. She looked coldly at Lin Feng. Lin Feng said indifferently, "Who are you?" "My master." The veiled woman said coldly, "It's Lu Mingyan." "This Lu Mingyan isn't simple. I heard that her identity is very mysterious. Every day, many officials and nobles come here. If Lu Mingyan is just a restaurant owner, how could she be on good terms with so many officials and nobles? Rumor has it that Lu Mingyan is the 8th Prince's woman. Outside, She's helping the 8th prince win over some strong cultivators or important officials. Ah, there's such a thing? Discussions could be heard in the surroundings. What's the matter? Lin Feng asked indifferently. Lu Mingyin's expression immediately became unsightly. He was causing trouble, yet he still dared to ask her, the owner, if there was something wrong. Lu Mingyin calmed the flames of anger in her heart and said, "Can you give me some face and let this matter go?" Hee, why should I give you face? Who do you think you are? Lin Feng sneered. What did you say? Lu Mingyin's eyes flashed coldly. Lin Feng looked at Lu Mingyin disdainfully and said, "When Long Yuxiao attacked me with his many people, where were you? Where were you when Zhang Yunlong attacked me just because he had a higher cultivation? Are you trying to tell me that you didn't know about this matter? Now that these two people have fallen into my hands, you come here and ask me to stop? You want me to give you face? Why should I give you face?" Lu Mingyin said coldly, "I have the final say here. Since you don't know how to appreciate favors, it'll be very difficult for you to leave today." Is that so? Lin Feng sneered. 12 eagle guards. Lu Mingyin shouted coldly. Swish, 12 men in black silently appeared on the second floor. Their faces were covered, and they had short blades in their hands. Their eyes were cold, and they didn't have any emotions. They looked like killing machines. Death warriors. Many people cried out in alarm. Death warriors were a type of cultivators who were absolutely loyal and powerful, cultivated by some forces. They would do anything for their master, even if it meant death. Chapter 324. The 12 Death Warriors released a cold aura and locked onto Lin Feng. Lu Ziyin was looking at Lin Feng with an ice-cold expression which was filled with disdain. These 12 Death Warriors. They were the top experts under the 8th Prince's command, 12 martial general-level powerhouses. The 8th Prince had sent them to protect Lu Ziyin, because this was the place where the 8th Prince secretly met with various experts and important officials outside of the palace. Moreover, this place was famous in the imperial capital. Every day, the people who came to eat here were all high officials and nobles. As for Lu Ziyin, she was the woman who helped the 8th Prince win over these people. Both of them were very important to the 8th Prince. Therefore, the 8th Prince had sent all of his personal 12 Death Warriors here. Now, in order to deter Lin Feng, Lu Ziyin had used the 12 Death Warriors. No, we can't let him leave. I want him to die. I want him to die. Long Yuxiao roared with resentment. Kill him. Cut him into pieces. Zhang Yunlong also screamed with resentment. These two people had been scared out of their wits by Lin Feng. They had been dismembered by Lin Feng. They had almost been scared to death. But now that Lu Ziyin had made her move, Long Yuxiao and Zhang Yunlong were confident again. They were regular customers and had discussed with each other before coming here. Naturally, they knew how terrifying the 12 Death Warriors were. Now, Lu Ziyin had used the 12 Death Warriors. In Long Yuxiao and Zhang Yunlong's opinion, Lin Feng would definitely die. Lu Ziyin's eyes flashed with killing intent, but she immediately restrained it. She naturally knew that Lin Feng was not a simple person. Therefore, she did not dare to kill him. Didn't you hear me? If you scram now, you can still live. If you don't know how to appreciate kindness, you won't be able to walk out of here today. Lu Ziyin's cold voice sounded again. Lin Feng sneered and said, "What a joke. You want to rely on a group of cats and dogs to deal with me? Leave here? Good. Before I leave, I will cripple these two people and then tear down your shop." With that, Lin Feng swept his right hand. Bang! Long Yuxiao and Zhang Yunlong were swept away. Kacha-kacha sounds rang out one after another. It was unknown how many of the bones in these two people's bodies were broken. They fell to the ground, and before they could even scream, they had already fainted. Whoosh! With a flash of light, a sword appeared in Lin Feng's hand. It was Black Dragon's sword. What kind of lousy store is this? I'll tear it down today. Lin Feng sneered and slashed at a pillar with his sword. Puff! The pillar broke. Rumble! Without the support of a pillar, the building began to shake as if it was about to collapse. Damn, that young master is really too savage. Moreover, he's extremely daring. He actually dared to tear it down, Yeah, he's too daring. I heard that the person behind this is the 8th prince. The 8th prince is the most likely one to become the crown prince among the 20 princes. Offending the 8th prince is really not a wise choice. I don't think so. Think about it. That young master had a look of disdain on his face when he found out about Long Yuxiao's identity. Even though he said he would destroy it, he still destroyed it. It is very likely that he also knows about Long Yuxiao's background, yet he still insisted on destroying it. It means that young master doesn't care about the 8th prince's threat at all. That's right, that's it. Many people were discussing spiritedly. Seeing that the 4th floor had begun to shake, they hurriedly ran outside. Some people directly jumped out of the window. Kill him. Kill him for me. Seeing that the 4th floor was about to collapse, Lu Ziyin immediately screamed in anger. It had a special status. In the eyes of the officials and nobles of the imperial capital, it represented the 8th prince. It represented the 8th prince's prestige. If it was torn down, it would not be as simple as just embarrassing the 8th prince. Lu Ziyin was about to go crazy. Swoosh, after receiving the order, the 12 death warriors all moved out and jumped down from the 4th floor. The short swords in their hands were shining with an incomparably cold light. Fair, go out and wait for me. Today, these people made you suffer. I will peel off 3 layers of their skin. Lin Feng smiled at Shangguan Fei. Seeing that Lin Feng was surrounded by 12 death warriors, Shangguan Fei was shocked. Shangguan Fei was both shocked and delighted. She was shocked because of Lin Feng's strength. She was happy that Lin Feng didn't hesitate to destroy the special place in the eyes of the nobles of the imperial capital. Be careful. Shangguan Fei reminded him and rushed out like many other people. Buzz. The 12 death warriors attacked together. Terrifying sword lights condensed and shot towards Lin Feng. 12 death warriors, I don't know if that young master can block them. Although he looks very confident, it's not easy to fight against 12 of them. That's right. The difference in numbers is too great. As long as one of the death warriors breaks through the defense, it's almost certain death. Some people were discussing. Some people shook their heads slightly. They felt that Lin Feng was facing 12 death warriors at the martial general level. There was almost no chance of winning. Facing the attack of the 12 death warriors, Lin Feng made his move. He slashed out with his sword. Clang, clang, clang. A series of clanging sounds were heard. Lin Feng waved his sword to block the attacks of the 12 death warriors. Use your strongest move and kill him. Lu Ziyin screamed in anger. The 12 death warriors attacked with all their strength. Evil Dragon Slash. The 12 death warriors raised their short swords and slashed out. Asterisk roar. Asterisk a loud dragon roar was heard. 12 rays of sword energy rushed out. The 12 rays of sword energy turned into 12 fierce evil dragons that pounced towards Lin Feng. What a terrifying evil dragon slash. Feeling the power of this sword technique, many people's faces turned pale. Although they were far away, they were still suppressed by the aura of the evil dragons. They almost couldn't breathe. Boom. At that moment, Lin Feng made his move. Lin Feng was holding a long sword. Blade Qi turned into an evil dragon and crashed onto Lin Feng's body. The crowd couldn't believe their eyes. The evil dragons were like clay oxen entering the sea. They were all swallowed by Lin Feng's body. Oh my god, what's going on? Everyone felt their scalps go numb. That was the strongest attack of the 12 martial general level death warriors. They attacked the young man, but he was unscathed. What about the attacks? These people naturally didn't know that all the attacks were swallowed by Lin Feng's devouring martial soul. Lin Feng rushed into the death warriors and stabbed with his sword. Puffed! There was a tearing sound. The first death warrior's neck was pierced by Lin Feng's sword. When Lin Feng pulled his sword out, the first death warrior fell to the ground and died. Swoosh! Lin Feng took another step forward. His speed was too fast. In an instant, he arrived in front of the second death warrior and pierced his chest with his sword. Lin Feng then walked toward the third death warrior. Pft, pft, pft. The sound of flesh tearing rang out one after another. Everyone was shocked to see what was happening. Lin Feng took a step forwards and killed one of the men of sacrifice. Those were martial general level death warriors. They weren't Tom, Dick, or Harry. Lin Feng killed a death warrior with every step he took. 12 steps. 12 martial general-level death warriors. They were all killed by Lin Feng. You. Lu Ziyan looked at Lin Feng in horror. She was so scared that her body was trembling. Whoosh! Lin Feng was sent flying. His golden wings spread open. He floated in the air and made a series of hand seals. Roar! The roar shook the heavens and the earth. 100-meter-tall Cheong Chi was formed. Its ferocious aura spread out. Countless people looked at the terrifying beast in horror. They were so scared that they trembled. The Cheong Chi waved its huge claws and slammed them. Boom! The ground began to collapse. Chapter 325. They looked in the same direction. Especially those who had power and influence. Their hearts were incomparably shocked. They had fallen. Someone had dared to humiliate the 8th prince in the imperial capital. Many people couldn't believe it. Is the imperial capital going to change? Murmured many influential people in the imperial capital. Boom! Amidst the ruins, a shocking aura spread out. Then, a beam of light broke through the ruins. It was a man in a black robe. He brought Lu Ziyan out. Mr. Een, kill him. Lu Ziyan's hair was messy. Compared to the high and mighty Lu Ziyan before, she was like a completely different person. The man who Lu Ziyan called Mr. Een nodded and said, "He destroyed His Highness. He deserves to die." He put Lu Ziyan down. "Quick, go and save him." Lu Ziyan ordered with a gloomy expression. Long Yuxiao and Zhang Yunlong were still buried in the ruins. So what if the rest of them died? But those two people weren't simple. They couldn't die here. Yin Xianfeng looked at Lin Feng coldly. "Who are you? How dare you destroy it?" "So what if it is destroyed?" said Lin Feng coldly. "Destroy it. Only death awaits," said Yin Xianfeng, smiling coldly. "Is that Yin Xianfeng? It's said that he's the 8th prince's strongest cultivator. He's mysterious. 5 years ago, he came to the 8th prince's side to help him. Since then, the 8th prince has been on a meteoric rise. Indeed, that's Yin Xianfeng. His strength is unfathomable. That young man won't be able to defeat Yin Xianfeng. That's hard to say. That young man is extremely strong." Many people were pointing at him. Boom! Yin Xianfeng took the initiative to attack. He took a step forward, and in a flash, there was a rumbling sound in the air. Many people's hearts were pounding rapidly. They felt a sharp pain in their chests. Everybody was looking at Yin Xianfeng in the sky. It had to be him. They didn't know what kind of secret technique it was. Lin Feng also felt that his heart was pounding very fast. It was accompanied by a sharp pain. Yin Xuanfeng's technique was really strange. With a sneer on his face, Yin Xianfeng rushed towards Lin Feng and launched a palm attack at Lin Feng. Humph! Lin Feng's eyes darkened slightly as he conjured the Sky Tyrant Thunder art. The power of thunder coiled around him as a ball of thunder formed in his palm. Just as the two of them were about to collide, a cold shout rang out. "Stop!" Lin Feng and Yin Xianfeng were shocked when they heard this voice. Dang, 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 dang. The two of them were forced to retreat again and again. The attacks that they had condensed were all scattered. What a powerful skill. Lin Feng looked over and saw an old man in battle armor approaching from afar. "It's the commander of the Imperial Guards." Many people cried out in alarm. Grand Commander Sun Guangxiao, the #1 expert of the Imperial Army. A martial king expert. "Who are you? Causing trouble here?" Sun Guangxiao said coldly. 8th Prince's mansion. Mysterious Yin Wind. Yin Xuanfeng's gloomy voice rang out. Azure Dragon Institute's Lin Feng. Lin Feng said indifferently, "You're Lin Feng?" Yin Xuanfeng's eyes were filled with killing intent. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Yin Xianfeng wanted to kill him after knowing his identity? This made Lin Feng suspicious. This matter was definitely not simple. Azure Dragon Institute's people can cause trouble in the imperial capital? Sun Guangxiao said expressionlessly, "Lord Sun, this matter cannot be tolerated. This person must be severely punished. Moreover, he seriously injured Lord Taishuan's 3rd son Long Yuxiao and the Imperial Army's Captain Zhang Yunlong." Lu Ziyan said, Oh, this is indeed a troublesome matter. Azure Dragon Institute, right? I will personally go to the Azure Dragon Institute to ask for an explanation. Disperse, Sun Guangxiao said. Lin Feng's lips curved into a faint smile. Sun Guangxiao obviously did not want to pursue this matter. He could not control the Azure Dragon Institute students. As for personally going to the Azure Dragon Institute and asking for an explanation, just take it as listening. Lu Xian's expression was extremely gloomy. She was extremely dissatisfied with Sun Guangxiao's way of handling this matter, but she did not dare to say anything. In Xuanfeng's gloomy eyes looked at Lin Feng and said, "Brat, you're lucky today, but your luck will not last forever. You better pray that you don't see me again, because the next time you see me, you will kneel on the ground and beg me to forgive you." Lin Feng sneered. "I'll wait and see who will be the one kneeling on the ground." Humph. In Xianfeng looked coldly at Lin Feng and left with Lu Xian. They returned to the 8th prince's residence. Bang! Just as they arrived at the hall, they heard the sound of something being smashed. The two stood outside the hall and did not directly enter. After the hall calmed down, they heard a sharp voice. "Come in." Yes. In Xianfeng and Lu Xian walked in. In the hall stood a young man wearing a four-clawed golden dragon robe. He was thin and had a gloomy look in his eyes. This person was the 8th prince, Long Haori. "Your Highness, we have failed in our duties." In Xianfeng and Lu Xian lowered their heads. "Lin Feng, it's this Lin Feng again." Originally, they wanted to rely on the Beastman Empire to attack the Jinwu country, but now they had to rely on Huang Tianfeng. Huang Tianfeng, old Marshal Huang. He had millions of soldiers in his hands. Moreover, he was not a supporter of the 8th prince, so he was regarded as a thorn in the 8th prince's side. With the help of a demonic expert, they wanted to use this battle to move to Huang Tianfeng, but Lin Feng had ruined it. This 8th prince Long Haori hated Lin Feng to the bone. Now, Lin Feng was ruined. Even my senior brother was killed by this brat. This brat's cultivation is really not to be underestimated. In Xianfeng said with a gloomy face. In Xianfeng was sent by the Soul Devourer Temple to the 8th prince's side. His senior brother was the blood-robed beast tamer Lin Feng had killed. "This brat must die," the 8th prince Long Haori said in exasperation. "Your Highness, I will contact the experts of the Soul Devourer Temple right now. They will definitely turn this brat into ashes." In Xianfeng said gloomily. "Good. However, we have to do it without leaving any traces behind, making it impossible for others to realize that we are the culprits. This child is a member of the Azure Dragon Institute, and if the Azure Dragon Institute finds out that we are the culprits, this matter will be extremely troublesome, and even this prince will be implicated." The 8th prince Long Haori said, "Your Highness, don't worry. Our Soul Devourer Temple always acts appropriately. When this brat goes out, we will kill him and destroy his corpse." Chapter 326. Lin Feng and Shangguan Fei were walking hand in hand on the main street. Around them, many people were looking at this golden couple with envy. The two of them did not speak, as if enjoying the silent atmosphere. As they neared the Shangguan family, Shangguan Fei muttered, "I'm almost there." The Shangguan family was not a simple family. The Mercenary Association was an organization that spread throughout the 3,000 continents of the Tianwu continent, just like the auction house. Behind the auction house stood the ancient Jiang family, which had sealed the gods on the immemorial Vermilion Bird platform. Naturally, behind the Mercenary Association, there was also an ancient power. It was said that it was an immortal legacy from the ancient times. Shangguan Fei, great-grandfather, was said to have been a servant of the family for 30 years. When he was 40 years old, he returned to the Jinwu country and established a branch of the Mercenary Association. Within the Jinwu country, there were more than 10 branches of the Mercenary Association. The Mercenary Association in the small town where Shangguan Fei was from was also one of the branches. Every year, the Mercenary Association would earn a huge amount of wealth and contribute it. As for the Shangguan family, it had been 700 or 800 years since the great-grandfather's inheritance. The current family head was Shangguan Fei's father. At the same time, Shangguan Fei's father was also the head of the Mercenary Association in the Jianwu country. In the vast world of mercenary associations, the president of the mercenary association in a secular country like the Zhenwu country naturally couldn't be compared to the president of the mercenary association in those big empires and ancient cities. However, in the Zhenwu country, the president of the mercenary association was someone who could make the earth tremble with a stomp of his feet. When you go back, send my regards to Auntie, Lin Feng said with a smile. Shang Guanfei blushed slightly. Her mother still did not know that she had a man, and she would definitely be embarrassed to tell her about it. Go, go, go. Right at that moment, a horse carriage came from afar. There were two people in the carriage. They were two young masters, one of them looking about 17 or 18 years old, about the same age as Lin Feng. The other looked about 25 or 26 years old. The young master about the same age as Lin Feng was called Shang Guanli, and was Shang Guanfei's half-brother. As for the 25 or 26-year-old young master, he was called Shun Yuyang, and was the eldest son of the guild master of the Heavenly Dragon Merchant Guild. This person was Shun Ziqing's elder brother. Unlike Shun Ziqing, who was just an idiot, as the son of the Heavenly Dragon Chamber of Commerce's president, Shen Yuyang had already begun to deal with the family's business. Moreover, he had done an excellent job and was trusted by his father. In the future, this person would most likely take over the Heavenly Dragon Chamber of Commerce. Shang Guanli smiled and said, Bro Shen, don't worry. This time, I will definitely help you and Shang Guanfei get married. That slut. She actually wants to fight with Big Brother for the right to inherit the family, and she even has those old fogies supporting her. What a joke. Due to the fact that Shang Guanfei's mother was only a servant girl of low status, Shang Guanli looked down on Shang Guanfei, and his words were filled with disrespect. Ahem. Shen Yuyang coughed. Shang Guanli knew that he had misspoken, so he said, Brother Shen, I'm a straightforward person. Please don't take offense. Shen Yuyang smiled and said, Haha, of course I won't blame little brother Shangguan. It's just that I don't know if this marriage will succeed. She is the daughter of a lowly servant. Being able to marry Brother Shun as a concubine is already a blessing from her previous life. What's there to be unwilling about? Furthermore, the decision isn't even in her hands. Shang Guanli said. Shen Yuyang smiled and nodded. At this time, they had arrived outside the Shangguan family mansion. Alighting from the carriage, they were about to enter when suddenly, they saw Lin Feng and Shang Guanfei walking towards them. I'm here. Shang Guanfei said reluctantly. Lin Feng rubbed Shang Guanfei's face and kissed her forehead. Smiling, he said, Go back and rest well. After a while, I'll come visit Auntie. Shang Guanfei was surprised and happy, but also a little nervous. After all, this was the first time Lin Feng had visited her, and she wondered if her mother would like Lin Feng. Thinking about how outstanding her man was, her mother would definitely like him, right? Seeing Lin Feng and Shang Guanfei so close, Shun Yuyang's fists clenched tightly, a cold light flashing in his eyes. That slut. She actually dares to flirt outside. As expected of a lowly servant girl. I'll go teach her a lesson. Seeing Shun Yuyang's ugly expression, Shang Guanli said darkly. Shen Yuyang said, Little brother Shangguan, you don't need to do anything. I'll handle it. Shang Guanli hesitated for a moment before nodding. He said, Such a slut. After marrying her home, I'll deal with her properly. She'd be the best. Gigi. Shun Yuyang, on the other hand, let out a sinister smile. After parting ways with Shang Guanfei, Lin Feng headed in the direction of the Azure Dragon Institute. As he passed by an intersection, more than a dozen people blocked Lin Feng's path. The leader was Shun Yuyang. Brat, stop. One of Shun Yuyang's guards said coldly. Lin Feng looked at them indifferently, saying, Who are you people? What business do you have stopping me for? Shen Yuyang's gloomy eyes looked at Lin Feng, saying, In the future, stay away from Shang Guanfei. Otherwise, the consequences are not something you can bear. Lin Feng blanked for a second, then sneered, Shang Guanfei is my woman? You want to touch her? Scram! Don't let me see you again, and don't bother Fei. Otherwise, I'll make sure you can't be a man for the rest of your life. Brat, what did you say? Shun Yuyang's face darkened. He had never imagined that this brat would still be so arrogant after being surrounded by so many of them. He actually dared to threaten him. Shen Yuyang was so angry that he laughed. As the young president of the Heavenly Dragon Chamber of Commerce, Shun Yuyang was a lofty existence. It had always been him humiliating others. When had he ever been humiliated by others? Now, he was being threatened by this brat. How could Shin Yuyang take this lying down? His gloomy voice sounded, "Do it. Cripple this brat for me. Let him know that there are some people he can't afford to offend." "Yes, young master." Whoosh. A cultivator beside Shun Yuyang immediately rushed out. This cultivator had a fierce face and a fierce expression. He was a first heavenly layer martial general. He looked at Lin Feng with a sinister smile. "Brat, who do you think you are? You even dared to offend our young master. You're simply courting death." As soon as he finished speaking, a powerful palm strike flew towards Lin Feng. "You don't know death, scram." Facing this attack from the fierce-looking cultivator, Lin Feng's expression was indifferent, and the aura on his body instantly condensed. Lin Feng shouted loudly and suddenly stepped forward, the aura emitted from his body fiercely exploding on the cultivator's body. Whoosh! The fierce-looking cultivator looked as if he had been struck by lightning, and he was sent flying by Lin Feng's powerful aura. Whoosh! In midair, he spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood. He fell to the ground and fainted. Chapter 327. Just by relying on his aura, he was able to injure a cultivator in the martial general realm. This cultivation level made Shan Yuyang's expression change slightly. Boom! Lin Feng continued to step forward. Shin Yuyang attacked him. Lin Feng had always been a domineering person. How could he bear it? No matter who you are or what your status is, if you dare to step on my foot, I will step on you 10 times. This was Lin Feng's character.
Protect the young master.
A leading cultivator shouted in a deep voice. More than a dozen cultivators surrounded Shan Yuyang. The leading cultivator rushed towards Lin Feng. He brazenly punched. This person was an expert. His fist was like thunder, fierce and domineering. Bang! The cultivator and Lin Feng fiercely collided. Thump, thump, thump. Both of them could not help but take 3 steps back. Lin Feng slightly raised his eyebrows. This person was very strong. He felt that this person was very likely to be a 6th firmament martial general realm expert. This person also held back in the previous attack. Of course, Lin Feng also did not use his full strength. Shin Yuyang did not expect Lin Feng to be so powerful. His face was extremely gloomy. In his heart, a fire of jealousy burned fiercely. In this world where the strong were respected, Shin Yuyang naturally knew that only by possessing great strength could one call the wind and summon the rain. Take the Heavenly Dragon Chamber of Commerce, for example. They had enough money, but they still had to rely on others to survive. Every year, they had to pay tribute to those ancient families. This was because the Heavenly Dragon Chamber of Commerce was only a chamber of commerce. It was not an ancient force. Within the Chamber of Commerce, there were no top experts to oversee it. Shin Yuyang's cultivation talent was not very good. He was destined to be unable to become an expert. Seeing that Lin Feng was so strong at such a young age, his heart was filled with endless jealousy. Why? This kid's talent was so amazing, and his talent was mediocre. Thinking of this, Shun Yuyang felt that the fire of jealousy in his chest was about to ignite him. Lin Feng slightly raised his eyebrows. He felt that this person was somewhat troublesome. It seemed that he would need to show his true abilities to deal with this person. "I apologize on behalf of the young master for what happened today," the leader of the guards suddenly said. Shin Yuyang's face suddenly turned ugly. He did not expect that the guard commander would take the initiative to apologize. Shin Yuyang knew how powerful the guard commander was. Could it be that this brat's strength had reached such a level? Even the guard commander had to apologize? "Don't do it again, or else." A sharp killing intent emerged on Lin Feng's face. In the next second, he turned and walked in the direction of the Azure Dragon Institute, disappearing into the crowd. Damn it! Damn it! Why are you apologizing to that brat? Even you aren't his match? Shan Yuyang roared angrily, his face twisted in anger. Originally, he had come to threaten Lin Feng and humiliate Lin Feng, but in the end, he was the one who was humiliated and had to swallow his anger. How could Shin Yuyang accept this? The guard commander said in a neither servile nor overbearing tone, "Young master, this brat is not simple. Just now, the killing intent he exuded made me feel a chill run down my spine. If we really fought, I'm worried that we would really fall in his hands." So powerful? Shen Yuyang's face was extremely ugly. His jealousy of Lin Feng only grew. Yes, truly terrifying, the guard commander said. Shen Yuyang coldly said, "Could it be that you want this young master to swallow his anger? This young master wants to kill him to vent the hatred in my heart." The guard commander said, "Young master, killing people is not something we need to do ourselves." "You're saying?" Shen Yuyang looked at the guard commander. "In the Tianmu continent's 3,000 continents, there is an assassin organization that is spread all over the continent, called Nine Nether. This organization only accepts money. The remuneration is sufficient. Anyone dares to assassinate them." The guard commander said with a sinister smile, "That's great. This young master doesn't lack money, whether it's gold coins or spirit stones. No matter the price, as long as I can kill that brat, this young master won't even frown." Shen Yuyang said in a cold voice. He was jealous of Lin Feng's youth, apprehensive of Lin Feng's talent, jealous of Lin Feng's cultivation, and even more jealous of Lin Feng's relationship with Shangguan Feier. Therefore, Shen Yuyang's killing intent towards Lin Feng was triggered. "Young master, just leave this matter to me. I guarantee young master will be satisfied," the guard commander said in a sinister voice. Lin Feng did not put Shen Yuyang's matter to heart. In the following days, Lin Feng was still cultivating, learning spiritual array techniques, refining medicine. As for the matter of him beating Long Yuxiao and Zhang Yunlong half to death, the banners and drums ceased. Just as Lin Feng expected, the true martial country couldn't interfere with the Azure Dragon Institute's matters. Since Long Yuxiao provoked Lin Feng, he could only admit defeat. Shangguan family. In one of the rooms, a handsome man dressed in white was drawing a picture of a mountain forest. In the forest, there was a tiger, lifelike and lifelike. With a loud roar, the herd of beasts trembled. "Third brother, what do you think of this tiger's roaring forest painting?" Shangguan Mo handed the painting he had just finished to Shangguanli. Shangguanli had no intention of appreciating the painting. Putting it aside, he said, "Big brother, that cheap woman is back. Aren't you the least bit worried?" Shangguan Mo said indifferently, "Why would I be worried? Heh. Don't you admit that Shangguan Feier is naturally good at management? In the mercenary town's mercenary association, she did very well, gaining the recognition of many elders." Shangguanli said, "So what? What can a woman accomplish?" Shangguan Mo said disdainfully, "Can't accomplish anything?" 3 years ago, when Big Brother was in charge of Wind Cloud City's mercenary association, he offended a big figure, causing the mercenary association to be destroyed. Our family suffered heavy casualties, and we had to pay a large sum of money to settle this matter. Since then, Father has been grooming Shangguan Feier, intending to replace Big Brother's position. Shangguan Li said indifferently. Shangguan Li's tone was indifferent. Thinking of the matter from 3 years ago, Shangguan Mo's fists clenched tightly, his expression extremely gloomy. That year, he was also one of the top young masters in the Jinwu country, but when he was out training, he got jealous of someone and led his men to beat up the other party. Who knew that the other party was from an ancient family, and a powerhouse appeared to deal with them, destroying the mercenary association with a single palm strike. At that time, hundreds of people had died in the mercenary association, but Shangguan Mo managed to survive. After that matter, Shangguan Mo became the target of ridicule in the circle of nobles in the capital. More importantly, the upper echelons of the Shangguan family seemed to be very dissatisfied with Shangguan Mo, stripping him of many of his rights. Shangguanli, that fellow, was full of evil ideas. Although he had some ability in coming up with bad ideas, it was impossible to groom him into a successor. As such, some of the upper echelons of the Shangguan family started to support Shangguan Feier. Shangguan Mo naturally knew that Shangguan Feier was the obstacle to him becoming the successor of the Shangguan family, and he said solemnly, "What's the situation with Shen Yuyang? Missing for a few days. I don't know where he went." Shangguanli pursed his lips. I heard that Shangguan Fei'er was very intimate with a man that day, Shangguan Imo said. And Shangguan Li replied, teach that little brat a lesson. Tell him to get lost. Without a man hanging around Shangguan Fei'er, Shen Yuyang's chances of success will be much higher. Once Shangguan Fei'er becomes Shen Yuyang's woman, I will have a way to get the old fellows in the family to betroth Shangguan Fei'er to Shen Yuyang. At that time, Shangguan Fei'er will lose her inheritance rights. Shangguan Imo smiled sinisterly. Shangguan Li nodded and said, leave this matter to me. I can rest assured with you handling it. Shangguan Imo nodded. Thump, 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 thump. At this time, a group of more than 10 people came to the second floor. The person in the lead was none other than Shangguan Li. I've finally found you, kid. Shangguan Li sneered when he saw Lin Feng. He led a dozen people towards Lin Feng. Brat, come out. Shangguan Li pointed at Lin Feng and said arrogantly. This was like poking a hornet's nest. Long Shiyu and the others were furious. Who is this grandson? How dare he speak to the sect master with such an arrogant attitude? Is he tired of living? Lin Feng waved his hand, indicating for Long Shiyu and the others not to move. He looked at Shangguan Li and asked, who are you? Why are you looking for me? Shangguan Li. Hearing Shangguan Li introduce himself, Lin Feng furrowed his brow. He had heard of this Shangguan Li from Shangguan Fei'er before. He was Shangguan Fei'er's half-brother, but their relationship was terrible. Since when had Shangguan Li ever put Shangguan Fei'er in his eyes? He had humiliated Shangguan Fei'er many times, but Shangguan Fei'er had always tolerated him because of their sibling relationship. So you are Shangguan Li. Why are you looking for me? Lin Feng asked indifferently. He didn't have a good impression of Shangguan Li, and seeing his attitude, he didn't have a good impression of him. Brat, I told you to come out. Didn't you hear me? Get the hell out here. I have something to say to you. Shangguan Li said coldly, an arrogant expression on his face. Sect Master. Long Shiyu and the others couldn't hold themselves back any longer. Lin Feng's position in their hearts was extremely high. Seeing Shangguan Li dare to be so impudent in front of Lin Feng, Long Shiyu, Wang Kuan, Xinyuan Zhan, Wu Ming, and the others were infuriated. Don't beat him to death, just beat him half to death. Lin Feng said passively. All right. Hearing Lin Feng's orders, Long Shiyu and the others leapt up, charging towards Shangguan Li, courting death. Teach them a lesson. Shangguan Li shouted coldly. He had brought more than a dozen experts with him. As for Lin Feng's side, there were only 7 of them. Lin Feng didn't even move from his seat. More than a dozen against 6? Wouldn't that be an easy matter? They're fighting. Many people exclaimed. Seeing that a fight was about to break out, they gathered around to watch the show. Isn't that Shangguan Li? He's the 3rd prince of the Shangguan clan. Who are those young people? They're actually clashing with Shangguan Li. This is going to be troublesome. The people that Shangguan Li brought are all experts. Those young people are going to suffer. However, the onlookers were soon stunned to see 6 youths around the age of 18 or 19 fighting with more than a dozen guards around Shangguan Li. Those youths were simply too ferocious. In just a dozen rounds, more than a dozen experts brought by Shangguan Li were all knocked down. One by one, they fell to the ground and howled in grief. What the hell? What kind of people are they? The people that Shangguan Li brought with him, including a martial general, were also beaten half to death. Many people were dumbstruck. Shangguan Li was scared half to death. He turned around and wanted to run away, but Long Shiyu grabbed him. Kneel. Long Shiyu kicked Shangguan Li's leg. With a plop, Shangguan Li knelt on the ground. I'm the young master of the Shangguan clan. You dare to treat me like this? You won't have a good ending. Shangguan Li had never been treated like this before. His face was twisted in anger. Fuck, is the Shangguan clan that awesome? Isn't it just the leader of the mercenary association? Long Shiyu sneered and slapped Shangguan Li's face. Pa. This slap landed heavily on Shangguan Li's face. In an instant, Shangguan Li's face swelled up. Shangguan Li spurted out a mouthful of blood from Long Shiyu's slap. Mixed with the blood were several teeth. You're courting death. I'll make you pay. Shangguan Li roared with hatred. Reckless. Long Shiyu wasn't the only one who attacked Shangguan Li. Wu Ming and the others also rushed up, punching and kicking Shang Wanli until he screamed in pain. Many people felt a chill run down their spines. Who were these people? How could they be so cruel? Even after knowing Shang Wanli's identity, they still beat him half to death. They're from the Azure Dragon Institute. Someone whispered. Hiss. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. No wonder these young people were so powerful. They were actually from the Azure Dragon Institute. Just now, the martial general beside Shang Wanli was defeated in 3 moves by that purple-robed young master, referring to Wang Kuan. Such a young man, yet he was already a martial general? In the Azure Dragon Institute, he should be one of the top experts in the genius camp, right? All of a sudden, everyone's gazes fell on the handsome young man who had been watching everything with a cold expression. That young man seemed to be the core of this group of Azure Dragon Institute super geniuses. That purple-robed young noble was able to defeat a martial general realm master, yet he still followed that handsome young man's lead. How terrifying was that young man's cultivation? Thinking up to this point, many people paled, secretly guessing Lin Feng's strength. Chapter 329. Spare me. Spare me. I beg you, for the sake of my sister, please spare me. Shang Wanli, who had been beaten half to death, started begging loudly.
Stop.
Lin Feng said indifferently.
Yes.
Wang Kuan, Long Shiyu, and the rest acknowledged his command and stopped. Many people thought to themselves, as expected, that handsome youth was the core of this group. Lin Feng stood up and walked to Shang Wanli's side, saying, I heard that you were disrespectful to Fei. When Shang Wanli sensed Lin Feng's ice-cold qi, he was scared to death. He hastily shook his head and said, No, absolutely not. I always respect you, sister. I respect you from the bottom of my heart. I never lie. Lin Feng glanced at Shang Wanli, saying, For Fei's sake, I'll spare you this time. However, you better behave yourself. If there is a next time, I won't spare you. You can scram now. Yes, I'll scram. I'll scram now. Shang Wanli scrambled out of the room. The group of guards also got up and ran out. The guard commander said, Young master, should we go back and find some people to take revenge on them? F***CK. It hurts so much. Shang Wanli grimaced in pain, saying viciously, Revenge your mother. These people are all from the Azure Dragon Institute, each more savage than the last. You couldn't even beat that guy in purple, and that guy is Shang Wanfei, Erzman's follower. Who knows how terrifying that man is? Just a look from him, and I felt like I was suffocating. That person is too scary. Shang Wanli thought back to the time when he had met Lin Feng's gaze, and he still felt a lingering fear in his heart. Although that fellow's gaze was calm, even so, he was still afraid. This fear came from the depths of his soul. Then what should we do? The guard commander asked. Forget it. I'll just continue being a rich young master. I won't participate in this power struggle. Shang Wanli sighed. He seemed to have pulled at his wound, causing him to grimace in pain. 5 days later, the auction house informed Lin Feng that the 200-plus herbs he needed had arrived. Lin Feng then went to the auction house. I didn't let you down. I've collected all the herbs you need. Dongfang Gu said with a smile. Thank you, senior. Please thank Miss Jiang for me. Lin Feng kept the elixirs and cupped his fists. Dongfang Gu smiled and nodded. After chatting with Lin Feng for a while, Lin Feng took his leave. Returning to his residence, Lin Feng began preparing to refine the small creation pill. In a few days, the auction would be held. He needed to successfully refine the small creation pill before the auction. The Fire Qilin asked, Have you gathered all the ingredients needed to refine the minor creation pill? Lin Feng nodded and took out the ingredients. He said in surprise, There are actually 2 portions. Zhang Yudi has put in a lot of effort. Zhang Yudi, the eldest daughter of the Jiang family. When I was in the Middle Sacred Sky continent, I heard of her name. She's not simple. The Fire Qilin said. Lin Feng nodded. The ancient Jiang family was an ancient family that had conferred the title of Ancient God to the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Naturally, they were not simple people. There are 372 types of ingredients for the small creation pill. Have you prepared the rest? The Fire Qilin asked. I'm ready. Lin Feng said. Yes, this is your first time fusing so many herbs. It won't be easy. The fire Qilin said. My soul is strong enough, Lin Feng said. The fire Qilin nodded. It also felt that Lin Feng should be fine. During this time, Lin Feng's alchemy skills had been improving day by day. Lin Feng took out the cauldron that he had bought not long ago and placed it on the table. He then placed all the herbs he needed beside the cauldron. With a flick of his finger, the purple earthcore fire jumped out and flew into the cauldron. Lin Feng skillfully placed the herbs into the cauldron. Under the tempering of the heavenly fire, the herbs all turned into spiritual liquid. There were a total of 372 types of herbs. Lin Feng had asked the auction house to help him find some herbs which were difficult to find. As for the more common ones, Lin Feng bought them himself. Time passed slowly. Inside the cauldron, there were already 370 balls of liquid. These were the spiritual liquids that Lin Feng had refined. He took a deep breath. Next, he had to refine the two most important herbs, the scarlet blood demon god and the scorching ghost grass. Lin Feng first threw the scarlet blood demon god into the cauldron. Under the tempering of the heavenly fire, the scarlet blood demon god began to be refined. Screech! Suddenly, a sharp and ear-piercing cry came from the scarlet blood demon god. This was an extremely terrifying soundwave attack. Ordinary alchemists would not be able to withstand this soundwave attack. It would cause their soul to suffer a backlash. This was the terrifying part of the scarlet blood demon god. This kind of herb contained its own devil spirit and could attack alchemists. However, this level of attack could not cause any harm to Lin Feng. Lin Feng easily resolved the scarlet blood demon god's devil spirit's attack. An hour later, the scarlet blood demon god was also refined into spiritual liquid. The last one was the scorching ghost grass. When the scorching ghost grass was burned, an evil spirit pounced out from the scorching ghost grass. It was even more ferocious as it pounced towards Lin Feng. It instantly rushed into Lin Feng's mind to destroy his soul. Slash! Lin Feng used the soul sword and beheaded this evil spirit. For hours later, the scorching ghost grass had also completely melted into a pure spiritual liquid. Then, it was time to fuse these spiritual liquids. One by one, the spiritual liquids were fused together according to the order. There must not be any mistakes in the order of the 372 types of spiritual liquids. Otherwise, these spiritual liquids would be destroyed. Alchemy was very strict on the details, and it could even be called a harsh matter. After all the spiritual liquids were fused, Lin Feng controlled the heavenly fire to refine the impurities and liquefy them into embryonic pills. This process was very complicated. It was also a very strict test of one's soul power. Fusing 372 types of spiritual herbs at once to refine a pill was something that even a profound-level alchemist's soul couldn't reach. This was Lin Feng. Although he was only a martial general, his soul had reached the 5th layer of the yin-yang realm. It was almost equivalent to an earth-level alchemist's soul. After about 14 hours, Lin Feng refined the medicinal liquid into an embryonic pill. Next, he polished the embryonic pill into a perfect pill. One day later, the first minor creation pill was successfully refined. The quality is quite good. The fire Qilin glanced at it and said, being praised by the fire Qilin was not an easy matter. Although this guy was usually a bit out of tune. However, when it came to alchemy, he was very serious. After putting away the first small nature pill, Lin Feng rested for a few seconds and then started concocting the second one.